That's some amazing shit, ain't it? I love that, man. It hits hard. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, gentlemen. Hammerhand, the MGTOW monk. Back at you, man. One Mogan. Yo, man. Yo, we got some visitors today. We got us a hardcore Canadian. I think some of you might know this guy. It's Sandman. What's going on, Sandman?
Hi, everyone. Sandman here. Hey, how's it going? You weren't expecting that, were you?
No, I was not expecting that. That's pretty hot, man. Undead Chronic will be joining us shortly. I do believe that he is also streaming this over on his side. So we're just going to talk the talk and walk the walk and answer a few questions. If you got anything that you'd like to ask anybody that's in here right now, just add them in the comments. Don't get shitty if we don't get to it, because there's going to be a few of you in here, so we probably won't get to them all. But just holler. First off, I'd like to thank all of the wrenches that maintain order in here. Big ups to the chat. Big ups to the wrench. And Sandman, you're sitting there right there at, I guess, Trucker Ground Zero, man. So what's going on out there?
No, nothing much. In Toronto, it's been kind of quiet. It's mostly the cops actually closing down the streets and then, creating all this traffic chaos and then blaming the truckers, even though it's the cops doing it. Ottawa is a different story. They just decided to move all the truckers to the central part of the city now, and they're moving out of the residential area. So the honking has stopped for the ordinary citizens. They can finally get some sleep after 2 or 3 weeks.
What an inconvenience, right?
Yeah.
It's got to be terrible to sit there and watch all of your rights disappear and force vax, force inject, and just force fuck people.
Well, it's just the provinces are starting to give back, people's rights, but the federal government does not want to. So we're waiting on Ontario. I'm in Ontario, so just waiting on Doug Ford to he says, we're soon we'll have all the mandates gone. Like, when is soon? Like, I think it's just posturing to try to convince the truckers to stop, and then he's not going to give them up. I don't know. We'll see about that. Maybe he will. Didn't
that limp-wristed motherfucker come out today or yesterday talking about how this was criminal and it was this, that, and the other?
Well, I don't know about that, but he's actually the only one who's taken a stance to do something. Like, everyone sees Justin Trudeau as weak for not standing up to the truckers, but Doug Ford actually did. He got the cops on the bridges, and he's actually tried to freeze the funds for the trucker convoy. But
I heard about it.
But he's actually strong. He's appealing strong. I mean, look, we have to have him win in the next. I think the election's in like 4 or 5 months, because if he doesn't get reelected, then it's going to be a lot worse, because you're going to have the NDP and the Liberal government, and we're going to have for the first time, if they get elected, we're going to have a majority female-led provincial legislature.
Who put you guys in that position, right?
Well, look, I hope I don't want him. I want him to get reelected because of that, but at the same time, I don't want him to get reelected for other reasons. So it's the devil you know versus the devil you don't.
Well, yeah, you guys got a choice between a blue devil and a red devil. They're fucked up there, man. Your political system's in trouble, just like ours.
Well, yours is maybe, I'd say probably about 10 to 15 years behind ours in terms of like the leftists and the cucks and the feminists taking over.
Yeah, I agree. Let me jump up into the chat here and see if we can find some questions or some interesting comments. Brizzy Boy can see nice one brother. I don't know what that means. Rudy O'Brien, Sandman, Schlitz Malt Liquor, Sandman, you getting shouted out, homeboy, shouted out. Line of MGTOW in the house. Ghost Shura, Undead, really? Yeah, really what? Really what? Why would you not expect Undead to be in here? Come on now. Arch Knight, make sure to take your daily red pills and cheers. Ghost Shura at Sandman, how do I, as a guy, win in life?
Well, that's a big question. I mean, like, what aspect, right? Let's pick one thing first, right?
I would say, just right off the top of my head, man, be able to think for yourself.
Yeah, pretty much. But the problem is most people, they're so indoctrinated by education that by the time they finish their so-called edumacation, they can no longer think for themselves.
Yeah, I agree. 12 years of indoctrination here. I don't know if you've got the same grade system, but we got like first through 12th pre-K. Then between 12th and college, they've got some shit. And then college years are just like finishing school for the mind wiped.
Well, it depends on what, like, look, when I went to college, my college was basically, it was called Ryerson. They've actually canceled the name of the college because
I know that.
And the college tried to cancel me while I was there as well. They had the cops come after me and all this kind of crazy shit. So, and they were the place where all the communists that were not accepted at the University of Toronto and York University would go. And now all of their ideas have spread to all the other universities. So it's brutal. It's really bad.
How long do you see this lasting before we have a complete educational system collapse?
Oh, it's already happened. It's just people are getting educated online, right? So, I mean, I think today's philosophers drive trucks. Think about it. You're alone for, weeks at a time, and you can contemplate your existence while you're on the road.
I agree.
So,
yeah,
anyway.
I agree with you, man. 100% on that. One of my first trainer was very, I will say he was a darker kind of person, and he said to me one time, he said, man, you got all this time out here to just sit and think. Truck drivers go to some pretty dark places sometimes. And I said, really? And he said, yeah, but it doesn't all have to be bad. It's just a matter, you're just confronting things that you never really thought about before.
Yeah, no, for sure. And you like truck drivers are technically going their own way because they're alone, and they're not, usually there's not a woman in the cab with you, right? So no nagging and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, right on. I know a few of them that actually they'll pick up a girl at a stop, a lot lizard, and they'll run her all over the country.
A lot lizard.
they'll pick up a lot lizard and they'll run her all over the country. She'll sit with them for 6 months or a year, and then they'll trade them out. It was some great, crazy shit, man.
One time I was in Nevada and I was driving like up I can't remember the main highway up to Tonopah, and there was like a brothel, and the truck driver just pulls over, and then like the chick comes out of the brothel with him, and the truck is like rocking back and forth, but you can't see it. It's so big. Yeah.
They're getting busy. Yeah, absolutely. Island Hermit says, Sandman and TFM saved my life. No joke. How often do you get that kind of comment?
If you look at my comments under videos, it's usually like every 1 or 2 videos I see somebody posting that. So and then, how many people that I actually influenced that created their own content, like Think Before You Sleep and other content creators. And then they say, so it snowballs out of control.
Right. And you lose track of how many people you actually have had influence with. And I think the same has happened for all of the large content creators. And then you see people, excuse me, content creators and other people spring from that, like Lonnie Spence is one. It used to be Young Man's Daily Red Pill, but he rebadged it to Lonnie Spence, and then Think Before You Sleep. And these guys are doing raucous numbers. Ribby the Party Frog, he's pushing 80,000 right now.
Per video?
No. He's pushing thousands, upward of 10, between 8 and 10 view, 10,000 views per video, but he's pushing an 80K sub count.
Okay.
Pretty fat shit. Ghost Shura at Hammerhand. Same question. How do I win in life? Come on, guys. Give me a break. Eric Zombrow at Sandman. Any update on when the Travel Channel might be back up and running?
Look, I've had issues with YouTube. Travel's channel's up. It's just I haven't been producing any content because I've been demoralized. Because YouTube, what they've done is okay. So there's this government tax that's coming down from above, where the U.S. government takes 28% of all YouTube revenue right off the top. So and then okay. So let's look at it this way. So I think it's like 40% goes to YouTube right off the bat. So you get 60%. So of that 60%, the US government takes another 28% of that. Then whatever I get, let's say that's down to like 42, 3, 4%, whatever. The Canadian government takes another third of that. So literally I'm making like 25, 30 cents for every dollar that I make. It's ridiculous.
You're getting fucking slaved out.
Yeah, so at some point it's like, why should I keep producing content? It makes no sense.
I agree with you 100%. Especially on the monetized side, And that's something that we talk about from time to time. It seems to me that people in the comments and people that are observing this, you know, from an ancillary position, they can't distinguish. When I say get away from usury, when I point the finger at somebody that's selling soap on a rope and I say, this motherfucker's jacking you around, stop doing that. And they're like, but you put a PayPal link up. I said, yes, that's true, but it's an optional PayPal link. You don't have to use it, you know? And they'll say with them, they don't have to use it either, but I'm not promising you success with a course. I'm not going to tell you that I can teach you how to be a man. Do you have that issue?
I don't know. Like I just talk about whatever, and I'm not trying to teach anybody. I'm just trying to like get my feelings out about what's going on in the world.
Yeah, agreed. Successful endeavors. Sandman with Justin running. Would you say that the truckers have already won?
Well, they have, because look at it this way: if Trudeau bends the knee, then he's negotiating with Nazis, because you know that's what he called them.
That's what they're going to tell. Yeah, he said it.
But if he doesn't, then they're not gonna let up. So, you know, Ottawa's he's gonna be a laughing stock internationally, because he's, you know, months will go on and he won't have dealt with this, and he looks weak too, right? Because he's not dealing with them. So his polling numbers are now saying that he's going to be, you know, the next election probably be in another year and a half. His polling numbers are saying that he's going to be worse off than Mulrooney at the end of his reign.
It's pretty down there.
Yeah, so like he's probably not gonna run. I don't think if the numbers are that bad, I don't think he's gonna run. What I think he'll do is pass off the torch to Freeland, his like deputy prime minister, and she'll basically become like the next Kim Campbell. Kim Campbell was the woman that Brian Mulroney kind of handed power off to, and then she was around for like 6 months, and then she didn't get reelected. But you never know; she might win. I mean, this is the crazy part. There was a guy, Dalton McGuinty, in Ontario, and he was the premier of Ontario, and he decided not to run because the polling numbers were so bad, and so he passed it off to this lesbian feminist premier that we had, and she ended up winning, and everyone was shocked. It was like, how did she win? It's like, we don't know, but she won.
Well, I mean, don't they always go? They always go down this agenda-driven road. It's like their sexuality or their color is the thing that is front and center. You know, we just saw it with the Super Bowl here. I can't tell you. I have to mute these commercials because they're just nauseating. They're nauseating. And for me to think that so much of this country, so much your country, and then so much of this country here in the States, that they relate to this and that they would actually run it into office thinking it's a good idea, we're in trouble.
Well, look, the agenda is slowly creeping into everything, but I think people are getting sick and tired of it, and they're just like, they're tolerating it to some extent. But I think people are going to shuffle off and consume other sorts of content eventually. I mean, I haven't watched the Super Bowl in years. Like, I don't really care anymore, right? It's, you know,
it was a pretty bummer of a Super Bowl. It kind of sucked.
But people are watching. I mean, like Coinbase, the cryptocurrency exchange, the biggest one, had their servers crash like within a minute of actually running their ad.
Yeah,
so
the LeBron James ad, he's in there hawking crypto.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. But it's just, you know, that either it was a denial of service attack, which it could have been, or it was actually too much traffic. I doubt that they had too much traffic. They were planning on having traffic, so why would they? Sure. Yeah. Anyway.
Sure. I mean, I can't imagine how many millions they put down for that spot, and then all of the CGI that they had to get the young LeBron to talk to the old LeBron and try to give him great advice for the future. Blah 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 blah.
No, I guess.
Brandon Trueblood at Hammerhand. I challenge you to a beard contest in Chicago this summer. I don't know, man. I don't know if I can get up for that one. Chicago kind of makes me nervous. I don't know if I can go to Chicago. Maybe there's some good spots, but I just don't know. So we had a couple of things on the docket today, man, that I'd like to talk about. We kind of hit on it a little bit. I've made a couple of videos down the road in the last 6 months where I feel like what people perceive as the red pill world out here, you know, pulling the scab off of the eyes and seeing things for what they really are and who's pulling whose strings. I feel like that has become corrupt, that it's kind of being absorbed back into mainstream brainwashing, and that it's just becoming another thing, and that MGTOW and monks following the philosophy is separating from it. Do you have any thoughts on that?
We were talking about this briefly earlier, and the problem is you're seeing a generational gap. Like the older MRA guys, in their 60s pretty much, and late 50s, they bought into the blue pill world, so they wanted to go back to sleep, to fix things, to go back to sleep, and that's not working. Like, I don't know how old you are, but like, we're most likely Gen X, so we're kind of in the sweet spot for MGTOW to begin with.
Yes, sir.
But the younger guys, they've gone black pilled, and some of them have actually, like, the whole red pill thing. Now, the only red pill channels that are allowed to survive on YouTube seem to be all the dating coach stuff. So that's the only way that a lot of guys are learning about female nature. And then after that, they're being told, buy this course on how to get dates and girlfriends and shit, right? So that's, the MGTOW has kind of been shuffled off the buffalo. There's just like no content producers because they can't make money. But if you make a dating advice channel, yeah, you can get monetized and make money. So I think it's just an opportunity thing.
I think that it's some folks just not being selfless enough. But then again, I mean, even Gen Xers, I'm an early Gen Xer, and I see these people that just constantly, they're like, fuck boomers, it's all their fault. Fuck Gen Xers, it's all their fault. Fuck the older millennials, it's all their fault. It's just not true.
Look, this stuff's been in the works for like generations. So it's,
yeah,
I don't know why people need someone to blame, right? That's the problem. So anyway.
And I would like to welcome to the stream Mr. Undead Chronic.
How you guys doing tonight?
Chilling, brother, chilling. Did you hear the topic that I just broached?
Unfortunately, I did not. I was starting my own stream and shilling like a shill master supreme, as you
like
guys know.
Man.
Yep.
Right on, brother. Well, what it was I said I felt like that the red pill as we know it out here in the world is kind of being reabsorbed back into normiedom, and it's losing its effectiveness, and it's being infiltrated like a motherfucker. And I feel like MGTOW and monks are pulling away from it and becoming separate. What do you think about that?
I think, what was it? Might have been half a year ago. I said I wasn't red pill. I made a video. I made a video with Ribby saying that we were leaving the Manosphere.
Yes, sir.
I feel like MGTOW is immune to that.
I agree.
I very rarely see someone stick to the MGTOW messaging and are able to shill and just push for shekels. Kevin Samuels would never put. I mean, it's almost like a litmus test, right? If someone says they're red pill, pro Manosphere, pro men, and they take a Chipotle-esque diarrhea spewing dump on MGTOW, it kind of shows that they're not really about that.
Yeah, I agree with you. Somebody in the chat, Steve Sanchez, says bullcuck. You know who that is.
Yep.
Oh man, if you guys have any questions, just at who you want the question at in the comment section, and we'll get to it as we can. Joe the philosopher at Hammerhand 100% agree. A lot of idiots have gotten their hands on this knowledge and gone wild with it. Yeah, I agree with you 100 on that. Victor von Frankenstein, I never understood the label of most extreme for monks. Well, it was labeled that way. Well, how could you not want anything to do with a female? I mean, we're so delicious and irresistible, motherfucker. You got to get some.
I mean, that's like the next level of MGTOW, saying you're, MGTOW monk. Now, if someone walks up to me and say, man, you can qualify this or quantify it. If someone says, I'm MGTOW, I assume they're a monk. I assume they don't date women. If you date women, you might in some way or manner say you're MGTOW, but that's not like the first thing you claim out of your mouth,
Well, I mean, when I went back to dating, I realized this isn't going to work. Like, if I want to keep these ideas fresh in my brain, I can't be in a relationship. It just doesn't work. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, I think you're right to some extent. I mean, you can have a girlfriend on the side for like a few weeks, maybe a month, but after that, like for me, my brain just turns to mush. So I can't do it.
I think there's a lot of dudes who they get their feet under them with this philosophy, because MGTOW is so much more than it's using multiple equations to propose a theory, right? If you never have heard of these equations before, you'll probably hear them best explained by MGTOW because he's trying to propose his theory. Not a lot of people are putting the equations out there. You know, the basics, the indisputable facts, the family courts, hypergamy, monkey branching, that kind of stuff. So young men who have grown up in a world that has been lying to them for decades, for their entire life, getting emotionally destroyed and harvested by women, they get the real messages mostly from channels like Sandman, Hammerhand, TFM, whoever. They have some kind of personal connection with the MGTOW branding. They don't agree with the application of the knowledge, but they still feel the need or the urge to identify as MGTOW, and that's not really what they are. So you'll see people in the comment sections often, I'm MGTOW, but I got a girlfriend. I'm MGTOW, but I pump and dump. I'm MGTOW, but I date. If you pump and dump, if you date, if you have a girlfriend, for me, you know, I'm not MGTOW, but I don't see you as a MGTOW. I don't.
I would agree. You're right there on the very fringe. You know, it defies logic to me to have somebody observe the philosophy, practice the philosophy, and then say, yes, I'm aware. I know about usury. I know about legal indemnity. I know what they're doing to me. I know how this just gets me fucking shucked and jived, but I'm still going to go ahead and opt in to do it. Island Hermit says, Happy Humble Hermit is MGTOW and he has a girlfriend. Yeah, we've spoken about that before with Hermit, and it's definitely an interesting talk.
It's funny.
It's like a dude saying he's straight, but he likes to suck dick on the weekend. It makes no sense. I don't care. Like, you saying you're MGTOW, you think that that being in that community is more important than reality.
It's funny. They get a girlfriend and then they disappear like a few months later and they're gone. The channel's dead.
Here's the thing: you don't have to be MGTOW to enjoy this kind of content. You don't. Right. Hammerhand's not out here saying if you ever date a woman, you're worthless. Get off my channel. He doesn't say that. That's yourself holding yourself to standards nobody's holding you to.
I think it's a little bit of folks
points for being a MGTOW.
It's a little bit of folks that are coming in that are brand spanking new that also have some things confused. You know, they haven't been in here 10 fucking minutes and they're already telling people who, what, when, and where. And you have to take some time to sit down and figure this out and see where you fit in it.
Yeah, I mean, it's there's some, you know, these dudes find the truths on these MGTOW channels and they feel like, well, I have to associate with this community and call myself a MGTOW no matter what my lifestyle is. It's not how it works, man. No. Like you can be part of the Hammerhands community, Sandman's community, and not be a MGTOW.
I agree with MGTOW. I agree with all of that. I think that some of that, well, I can't tell you what percentage it is, but I think that in my opinion, knowing what we know about parental statistics, about the amount of men that have been raised by single mothers, I think a ton of that shit goes back to men looking for a place to belong.
Yep.
You know, I think that they're looking for a place to belong. So,
well, but that also comes down to validation, right? So
yes.
And then if they can't get that validation from other men, then they try to get it from women, right? So think about it. If you go your own way, you're no longer getting female validation. So you need a crutch to kind of keep you going. So then they find the MGTOW community and they're like, oh, look, there's a crutch for me to connect to.
I agree, man. It could be a very useful crutch. You have to recognize it. You know, I said for a long time, I can't rely on other people. I can't pull pieces of them and plug it into me to make up for what I don't have or what I feel like I need. I have to look inside of myself and be able to discern what's wrong. And if I can't do that, nobody can do that for me. I have to be able to do that. And you got to be comfortable with who and what you are.
But you have to understand, like your profession, you know, you're on the roads, whatever, I don't know how many weeks alone every year. And that basically means that you have to learn to validate yourself. Otherwise you'll go crazy alone on the. So, but a lot of people don't have that. They're surrounded by people they don't like or whatever, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I got you. Vedic Ghost says, at Hammerhand, can you watch Laszlo? I don't know what that is. At Sandman, how's life and your health? At Undead Chronic, thinking about moving to Colorado, your thoughts on that and where? Sandman, how's life and health?
Okay, I guess my reflux is under control. I've got I started taking these things called Swedish berries. Swedish bitters, sorry. Swedish bitters. So the Swedish berries would not be good, right? So
they're really small. They're really small.
So the Swedish bitters are actually helping with reflux. If you have stress related reflux, I definitely suggest taking those, like just a little, very little, and they'll clear up your reflux in no time.
Have you considered cannabis sativa for your stress-induced medical problems?
No.
Like not much on the smoking end. Yeah,
it's just
I had a doctor try to prescribe that shit to me for arthritic pain, and I'm like, nah, man, I can't go down that route. I can't do it.
The Kush is too strong. One of these days, I'll send Sandman a sex doll, and he'll like pick it up. As soon as he picks it up, it'll just explode into a bud.
That's terrible.
What
is wrong.
You'll send me a sex doll. What?
Well, you'll pick it up, and it's really just a bunch of marijuana put up in some saran wrap.
No, gotcha.
A fucking voodoo doll.
You'll have to consume it.
I'll throw it all on my bed, and then I'll throw the other 2 dolls that I have on the bed with it, and then I'll have a party by myself. There you go.
Hey, man. It'll be enough any way you can get it, right?
It'll be enough Kush. You'll just get a contact high whenever you walk into your house. And for Hammerhand, I'm just gonna have to stock them like one of those old British hunters with a syringe gun, which is pure CBD oil. And just shoot it right into the kneecap. I'm like,
oh shit,
motherfucker.
That might not work out too well.
Yeah, the Colorado issue. The guy was asking, "What about Colorado?" I don't like. Look, Colorado has fallen, right? Like all the refugees from California have moved to Colorado.
Yep.
Yeah, Colorado's fucked. I mean, like it depends on what you want. Do you just want to be a bum and smoke weed all day? Yeah, sure, go to Colorado. Fuck the Democrats.
Last time I was in Wyoming and South Dakota, I turned around. I was gonna go to Denver. They actually have the International Church of Cannabis there. So if you go, they took an old church and they painted all the murals above with like cannabis leaves. It's hilarious. So
I think you didn't go. We could have converted you. You would have seen Preacher Chronic up there. Y'all shall take a holy drag off this green blunt. Amen.
Look, so many people invested in cannabis stocks in Canada, and they lost so much money because they were thinking it was going to become like the next big thing.
Nope.
And what ended up happening was all the people they just grew their own. They were like, oh, we were allowed to have 2 plants, so we're just going to grow our own at home.
Nope.
So there you go.
Nope, that's not the way that shit works. The Californians found out about that. Almost every weed business out there loses money.
Yeah, and that because the dealers are making the illegal dealers are making more money, and so the legal ones have to shut down.
It depends on what kind of businesses you invest in, right? Like if you're investing in a random grow up, that's a pretty, it's high reward, high risk. But if you're investing in some technology company that's all they do is they test marijuana plants, it's a more stable investment. But people, they talk about weed, it gets legalized, and they go, oh, this is a new Dogecoin, and then they just dump thousands of dollars and I think they're gonna get rich.
Yeah,
it's a foolish move.
Ronald Rowland in the chat says, at Hammerhand, they have a distributor in the pushy, the Mr. Needle, taken from the HIV virus. And this has come to light here recently. It's all over mainstream news, so we shouldn't have a problem saying it. They are pushing for people to take HIV tests in mass. Have you guys heard about that?
I haven't heard about that, but I've heard about the new HIV strain. Somebody sent me an article earlier yesterday, and so what's going on? Like, so it's a more lethal version. It basically spreads a lot quicker and it leads to full blown AIDS a lot quicker. But like, where did it come from? Like, how did this viruses usually go to a milder form? How did this get like so much stronger all of a sudden? So I think Mr. Fauci has a new ouchie for us, right?
Yeah. It was revealed that they did that on purpose.
I don't know. I haven't read enough to know that, but I'm just looking at the consequences. So will it spreads more easily? What does that mean? Does that mean it's airborne? Like, are we going to be coofing up AIDS? Like, what's going on?
I think that these motherfuckers are just looking for ways to extend this, and the fear mongering and the fear porn absolutely works.
Yeah, and it's the extending of this is actually, what like Justin Skippy Trudeau wants to do, but it's not going to work. Like, people are done. People don't want to do this. So now they're doing the whole like Russia-Ukraine narrative. This is just insane, right? Like, I don't know. I'm getting tired of this, but they have to push something because their views on media are collapsing. So they don't know what to do. They don't know how to keep people engaged anymore.
Well, they're doing the same old shit. I mean, if I don't know who watched the game tonight, but while I had the channel muted for most of the evening. You know, I'd check in every once in a while when there was a score or something, but the fucking commercials are 100 times worse than they've ever been. And they don't understand that people didn't migrate to the internet or YouTube or Facebook or whatever platform they chose because it was new and awesome and edgy. It was to get the fuck away from them.
Well, look, have you, like, besides the Super Bowl, have you actually sat down and watched television in the last number of years? Because I last time I like, whenever I sit down and watch TV, like, I can't watch it. Like, these people are just like,
yeah,
they're saran wrap people. They're fake.
Yes.
I mean, I can't watch it anymore. And I used to work in it. And I used to work in this thing. And back then it was like, it was good because it was the only thing around. Now that the monopoly is broken, nobody's watching it.
So they haven't been watching for a long time.
Yeah, it's been 5 to 10 years. Yeah.
This year I'll be watching my racing. So I just, God for fucking bid, I have to sit through commercials and shit. So I think I'm just going to DVR the stuff and then come back and watch it later. But this is the first year in 3 years that I'll be watching the racing. And I haven't watched mainstream television in probably 15 years.
Well, look at it this way. 40% of people have ad blockers. So you're not watching ads. So the ad companies, like, you know, the YouTube revenue model of ads at some point is gonna blow up on them because people are gonna use blockers or they're gonna find content on other platforms that don't have ads. So, you know, that whole business model is over. So how are you going to advertise your cheap tchotchkes on whatever platform?
That's what I need to do. Sandman, you just give me a good idea. I need to make an advertisement for my videos.
Uh-oh.
I don't make any money off of it, but it's really going to be stop long nose Susan the cunt from earning any money. Download these free ad blockers. Fuck you.
And when this stream goes down, now don't be surprised.
I didn't say anything
they
bad,
did it to me the other day.
Look! I got, I think, over 10,000 people signed out to the Brave browser back in the day, and that's 10,000 people.
They turned you upside down and shook you for your shekels.
They did kind of fuck you, didn't they?
Well, they finally paid me, but it was funny because for the while they were going to give me like a contract to keep pumping this stuff up, and then something happened. Like, I heard from the CEO basically posted that one of his contacts had sent him like, you know, information about my content. So some like lefty contacted the CEO and basically got him to turn against me. And then
so we know that the CEO of that company is under the influence of leftoids.
Look at the people that work for Brave, right? So it's like all purple hair. Like the moment I started promoting them, I was like, oh, let's see who's working for this company. And I'm like, oh, it's in California. It's all lefties. How long before they not only demonetize me, but take my money? It's going to happen at some point. Like
they were popular for a little bit, man. But once you made that video calling them out, the whole community just basically abandoned them. And it's not just like they lose their current user base; they lost any potential to grow in this space. So they're probably
it's
right now.
No, they're still growing. Like they've got, I think it's 40 to 50 million monthly active users now. So they're actually growing, and their coin went up to like $2. So they did pretty good. Right now, I think it's back down to like 70 cents, 80 cents.
Compare it to if this whole space, because MGTOW, the Manosphere, we're the progenitors of a lot of this new kind of messaging, right? If you were supported by the Brave browser consistently, and I saw that, I might have adopted it. Hammerhand might have adopted it. The whole Manosphere might have adopted it. It would have spread from the Manosphere onward forward. So they might be growing, but they shot themselves in the testicle when they fucked you over, and I don't forgive them for that. Even if they paid you out, if they said sorry, I would need to see every single SJW get on their hands and knees and crawl into the crater of an active volcano before I support them.
Look, it's you kind of have to expect the politics because it's not the CEO, it's all the people that are working in the company, and they get all like uppity, and they basically have to stop whatever they don't like, right? So and it's a bad idea, but why didn't they stop me in there early on, right? Like they were perfectly okay taking all those new subscribers for a year and a half.
You can be okay with expecting the politics, but the politics that we should be the only politics we are allowed to be we should be okay with are lefty feminist turbo vaginist politics. I've never seen a leftist submit anything to against their beliefs ever. It's always us that has to compromise. I'm done compromising. I don't care.
I think a lot of people are in that position.
If I sniff even a hint of Tumblr off even a secretary of a company, I'm done with them.
Look, use them, make your money, but be aware that at any moment you can get canceled for no reason at all. That's just kind of how we have to play this, right? So it's just like, and then take all the money that you make and invest it, earn some dividend income, and then use that money to keep yourself going.
That's how I see YouTube. But like, I'll be damned before I promote a new alternative platform if they're going to be hiring SJWs. Absolutely not.
But it's not just SJWs. It's like you look at things like Rumble. Like I looked at Rumble and I was just like, they're going to kick me off. It's like people are like, well, why they? Because they're conservatives. They don't want me there.
Yes.
Right. So you're going to see this battle. You see, look, right now we're all like, oh, the left, the SJWs. In a few years, it might be like if the alternative platforms take off, we might be fighting against conservatives that are trying to shut us down.
You will be.
How many people have been banned from YouTube because conservatives got pussy hurt? I would say the number is 0. So you're saying the enemy in 20 years could be the conservatives, and you might have a point there. But right now, I'm getting kicked in the dick by the left. Now, a single conservative is actively trying to suppress our voices. Now, for you, Sandman, was it 2 years ago? There was a conservative, Miss Lauren Wheelbarrow Pussy Southern, was getting real upset because you made one video about her. But I think she's a moderate now.
She basically okay. So I got a message from her saying that she was going to sue me if I didn't take the video down. That was like there was no like, hey Sandman, how you doing? Can you please take this video down? I'm back and making content. I would have taken the video down, no problem, right? And even though she threatened to sue me, I still took the video down off of YouTube. And then I just posted what she had sent me on Twitter, and then she freaked out because everyone saw like the tactics that she was using. And then she basically said, "Oh, it's Sandman's fault. He didn't include the entire context of my message trying to cancel him." Like, what? Like, this is what you said, right? Like, I didn't make it up. And yet she's still blaming me for choosing to post what she said. Like, I should have posted.
Bitch that is held up though by conservatives as a paragon of virtue, like Tommy Laron, like Lauren fucking Chin, Sydney Watson.
Like, look, Lauren Southernson, whatever her name is, she basically had her anchor baby. She married some rich doctor, I think. I don't know. So she's basically set herself up, and then she went back to content production. So now she's kind of like, look, I'm a good conservative woman. Now I can go make content, and I've proven myself, right? Right.
I mean, she could get, and this is the same with Cindy Thompson. She can get some normie conservatives, but the main bulk of her profit potential was getting more hardline, conservative, anti-feminist dudes who would pour their sexual energy and channel it through their wallets to the Trad Thoughts PayPals. Once these white dudes see Mo White Queen marry a dark-skinned Asian and pop out a half calf, half a bastard, they're not donating anymore. And Lauren Southern isn't smart enough, intelligent enough, witty enough to convince the masses to donate at nearly the same level she could convince the horn dogs to donate.
I mean,
so she's probably turning a profit. I'm sure she's monetized on YouTube, but the $100, $200 super chats of all the guys that secretly want to get on a knee for her, they're gone. They moved on to the next 18-year-old Trad Thought.
Yeah, pretty much.
Agreed. And how many times do you think that those guys are going to be able to suffer that kind of an awakening, so to speak, that type of betrayal? Now, I'm not saying that she owed them anything. She didn't owe them anything except the truth. And it was going to be hard to get that from her because she was living a life and still is living a life that's counter to what she was saying. And she had a lot of them white.
I want to say here, Hammer, and you'll agree with me with this. Anybody that expects truth from a woman is a damn fool.
I think for the vast majority of them, you're correct.
Honestly, women don't have fists. They succeed biologically through manipulating and or convincing men.
Yeah. Well,
They will twist the truth the way a man will throw a hook on another man. That's how they fight. That's how they survive.
Well, how many have we read about here in the last month, 60 days, that have convinced law enforcement to murder their opposition? It's happened a lot.
What are you referring to?
Swatting calls, female to male, domestic violence calls, female to male, and there was actually no domestic violence at all, but you still got a dead man somewhere because cops were called. You know, they know that they can come in and weaponize the police to win an argument, even at the cost of your life. They know that they can do that, and they do it. We've had 4 here in the last 60 days, 5. But like Emily Linden says, she'll tell you she'll pay that price. She'll sacrifice your life to make advancements for feminism.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really cover the violence and the domestic assault and the divorce stuff as much as I used to, because it's just, I feel like it's beating a dead horse at this point. I feel like it's not exciting anymore, right? Like, it's just it's one of those things. But like, I think we should definitely talk about the story about that 15-year-old kid who asked to touch a boobie, and he was like that. What do you guys think about that?
Hammerhand, I sent you the link to that story. I saw that story. I sent it to Hammerhand in the DMs, and I said before I sent the link, I said feminism kills, and I sent him that link.
Yeah,
I don't think it's. I think I thought about it. I'm like, who's to blame for this? And it's like everyone's to blame for this. Like you get the overbearing parents who are overprotective.
Feminist.
You get the 15-year-old kid who's an incel who didn't look in the mirror before he asked the girl out.
He's a feminist. Yes,
he's just a kid. He's just a kid.
Yep, still a feminist. He is indoctrinated and dipped into the feminist.
Like, I look at it this way: he was basically part of the LGBT community, and I think he was using that as like as armor to protect himself from criticism. And then it still didn't work. So just because you like virtue signal that you're on the left, and you'll still get attacked. It doesn't matter.
Oh, my man pussy's getting hurt. No,
how many times have you seen it over the last couple of years?
Because here's the thing: if the kid wasn't a feminist, he wouldn't give a fuck what feminists said on Twitter, and he wouldn't rope himself.
Yeah, no, for sure. Like look at the cops. I think the cops are to blame too, because they opened a criminal investigation for a question. It's like, what did he do? He asked to touch my boobie. It's like, did you let him? No.
Those are
it's like, we definitely need to investigate this and open up a $500,000 case to, and book all the man hours people hours to figure out like what happened here. Like the UK, the police is a fucking joke.
The UK is a joke.
The UK is a fucking joke. Yeah.
At least they
is supported by swaths of men, millions of men who willingly get on their hands and knees and get fucked in the ass by the state. Now, you could say that about every Western government, but in the UK, it's extra egregious. You have your 15-year-old sons if my 15-year-old son roped himself because the cops opened a case, there would be a lot of cops crying at funerals over the next month. I'll say it like that. There would be righteous violence against the state. But that never happened in the UK. They complain about it and they go, "Oh no, my daughter got trafficked by a bunch of
they blame them.
Kababo-sexuals from the Middle East."
They blame them. They blame the fucking kids for getting raped by these they call them Asians over there, but we know who they are. We know what they are. These cultures are diametrically opposed to one another. They are not meant to be mixed, and that's why you see them segregating inside the same towns and cities. That's what they're doing. They're self-segregating.
It only happens because white European culture is weak.
Yes, it is.
It's weak.
Well, it's not so much that they're weak. They don't understand the consequences of what they're doing. Like, look, I would say they're weak. I would say they're weak. I'm half Serbian, right? So Serbs have basically been Serbs are basically in the Balkans, and they live in the crossroads between the East and the West. So whenever any empire needs to go somewhere, they have to come through that territory. Right. So they literally level everything and then they move on. So the Turks would invade and the Germans would invade, and so like anyone. Well, no, the Russians didn't want to invade because they were smart, right? Like the Serbs and the Russians were kind of allies for the most part, but the Russians have no real allies. They're for themselves. But anyway, that's a long story. But the reason I'm bringing this up is, when you're under occupation from like for 300-400 years by the Turks, you know that you can't mix with that culture. You fight to keep your identity separate. So the Europeans have no idea because they were never under Ottoman occupation or Turkish occupation. So when they let Muslims in, they don't understand the consequences of that because they don't have a history of that.
Oh, I mean, why do they let Muslims in?
Because the collapsing fertility rates. This is the problem. They're trying to prop up their economy. So
it's because their women vote for it.
And then their women do vote for it. Yes,
and
they do. But
why do they give women political power? Because they're weak.
Well, look, if you want to know why women have political power, it all comes down to if you look at I think it was Socrates, Plato. If you look at like how we go from political systems, so we start off as a aristocracy, right? So we start off as a king and a queen, and then the next level down is a timocracy, which is the government switches over, and the king and the queen get kicked out, and the warriors. And that if you look at the American Revolution, right. So like so you look at what happened. They kicked the king out, and then you basically had the founding fathers, who were the warriors, the generals during the American Revolution. They took power.
I mean, you could say they're more businessmen, but yeah.
Well, then the next is the oligarchy, right? So then after that, you get the oligarchy, you get the robber barons, the Rockefellers.
You're talking about Socrates, right? That's a very Greco-centric view.
Yeah, and then from there you go down to democracy, and then you give women the vote, and then eventually that turns to tyranny. So this has been going on for thousands of years.
And in weak countries with weak cultures, yeah. Sure.
The thing is, eventually the country will weaken itself.
I don't know of one Chinese empire that gave women a vote or had a democracy.
Well, they certainly did for the Mongols.
This is a Greek philosopher talking about very Greek-centric issues.
Well, European-centric issues. Yeah, European-minded stuff.
Yeah. It was the basis of power went from Greek to Rome to the rest of Europe. I can agree with that, but there are systems that never go to democracy. They never fuck up like that.
Well, maybe they did go to democracy, but it happened so long ago, and then they went into tyranny that we don't remember that time, right?
Again, like I can't think of a democracy in China before Chinese Communist Party that is supposedly won.
But the Chinese were basically look. Okay, so you had the emperor of China, and then the communists came. And they overthrew the emperor. So there's your aristocracy, right? So the aristocracy gets thrown.
What I'm saying is, for thousands and thousands of years, it was just royal families.
Okay, but look at China as an example. So you get the emperor 150 years ago in China. Then the communists come in, and they're the warriors. They fight the emperor's army, and they basically win, right? So they take over the country. So they're the timocrats, and then they go down to oligarchs. So now we're in the oligarchy phase where big corporations have merged with the government, and now the Chinese corporations are making tons of money, and then eventually it'll go down to democracy. So, but again, will it? But look, women have been given more rights in China in the last 10 or 20.
The culture and the governmental system aren't inherently linked like the way Socrates. Because Socrates had a narrow view because he was talking about Greece. But like it's not a democracy. It's not like open, fair, but they still have feminism in China. Like they still have feminism in Iran. No one thinks about it, but in Iran, there's more women in college than men. That's feminism.
Yeah, no, it absolutely is feminism. So, but look at China is technically a feminist country because women have the right to work. Women have the right to follow their own destiny. And are they having children? No, they're not. So the fertility rate's crashing. They're pushing up. They've actually banned vasectomies, and they've banned abortions in the last 6 months.
Damn.
But not officially, right? So if you go and you call up a hospital like, hey, I want a vasectomy, they're like, we need to discourage you from having this vasectomy. Or if you want to have an abortion, they're like, is it a healthy baby? It's like, yes. It's like, well, then we can't do this. Might try a different hospital. You keep calling all the hospitals, and none of them will take the procedure.
The baby supports the liberation of Hong Kong. Okay, we got a spot for you right now. Fuck that bitch. Chop suey on the motherfucker.
Silo Sibin says, at Hammerhand, can Sandman please go off on Richard Cooper for a few? I don't know. I don't know what he did, but yeah, if you got some.
Oh,
thoughts on it.
I slept with his girlfriend and he liked it. That's what I did.
Oh shit.
You mean John Goldman? Is that who you're talking about?
Did you bang her in the 07 Benz or the 06 Benz?
I don't know what you're talking about.
Richard Cooper, his whole shtick is he drives shitty mid-tier luxury cars to pick up single mothers. Like he'll drive around in like a Mercedes Benz, I think like a 7 Series from 08, and be like, "I got a nice car. Call me for $1,000 an hour for coaching, and I'll teach you how to get a nice car."
Well,
it's like mid-level marketing, but he's just convincing weak men to pay him a lot of money.
I'd love to see what's going on. Like he had that like Obsidian, I can't remember, not Obsidian or something like some sort of coaching program. That he had all these members and he was trying to get
Luminal Order.
Luminal Order. There we go.
Which we refer to as the Seminole Order.
Fluid Order.
Yeah, ridiculous.
Several normies reference, and I was like, "You were stealing my."
And thanks for actually cracking that case, because I keep hearing that everyone said that it's Undead. He's the one who brought light to this. Yeah, so thanks for doing that, because that's
roasting that cuck boy for months.
Look,
I saw him on Timcast. I saw this dude on Timcast, and he, have you played the Sonic games, Sandman?
Oh, I loved Sonic the Hedgehog. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Jack Murphy looks like fucking Dr. Eggman. You can't tell me his body shape. He's got a beer belly. He got little legs. He got little arms. But when he goes to the Timcast studio, he puts his arms, his shoulders, as back as possible, puffs up his chest, and points out his beard, and he goes, "I am a masculine man. I got a lot of pussy off dating apps. Listen to me, men, if you want to learn how to be men." Just the way he talked the first time I saw him in Timcast, I'm like, oh, I know. There's no way. There's no way this dude is legit.
I mean, he talks with that light ass voice and the lisp. I mean, come on.
The grift is strong with this one.
Yes, it is, and it just shows you how. And no disrespect to fellas that fell for it, but just how fucking stupid and uninformed men are, and they're made this way. They're made this way to get fucking sucked off and thrown on a pile somewhere. It's very discouraging to see people fall for shit like that.
But look, there's no alternative, because what's the alternative? Fresh and fit? Like, what do you?
Yeah, sure.
So John Goldman versus Fresh and Fit. I don't know. It's like which evil? I'm like, look, I'm standing in the road and I see like hell on one side and brimstone on, fire on one side, brimstone on the other. I got to pick which one I'm going to walk under.
If men, it's like, men, do you want to learn masculinity from a skinny, fat Jewish scam artist who has stolen hundreds of thousands of dollars?
You don't know how much money he's made. Like, look,
I know that he's received about a couple $100,000 from the charter school system in DC, and he was sued
because he was terminated from that shit.
Yeah, no, like that's not even from this Seminole Order. This is just from him saying, I was trying to help black kids. No, he was holding 3 different jobs, getting paid for them. But you got Mr. Democrat, journalist, Jewish dude. Nothing wrong being Jewish, but he's a Jewish dude who's pretending to be white. He is ashamed of his Jewish roots, with an Irish name, who's fat and likes to pee on his wife in public. You got him teaching masculinity, or you have Myron Gaines, some rich, pretty boy. Well, I can't call him pretty. Some rich, privileged, suck-up Arab bitch who wants to have sex with fat white women in Miami. Are those people masculine?
Hey, I would say no. Come here.
Myron Gaines comes from a long family of men who would enslave Africans and ship them to horrible conditions. Yet he feels entitled to using African American slurs. So I'm not sure which one's worse: the Jewish dude LARPing as a white guy, or the Arab descendant of slave traders LARPing as a black dude. Let me know in the chat, guys.
In just a moment. Go ahead and do your thing. I'll be right back.
No problem.
But what do you think about that assessment, Sandman?
I'm tired of these stupid people showing up and getting all these views. Look, what's going to happen is within 6 months to a year. Well, Jack Murphy is gone, right? He's dead. Like his whole brand is toast. But I'm just surprised Fresh and Fit's still going. Like I was surprised, after a year, maybe a year and a half, I think that there'll be a decline, because anyone who shows up in the Manosphere, if they're monetized now, they go through this like initial growth spurt, and then the views just collapse. Right? I don't know if that's YouTube or if that's just people getting sick and tired of them. I don't know, but that's what I see happening.
Well, once they get demonetized, they stop making content because it's not about the message; it's about the grift.
Well, no, like here, let me take a look right now. So, like, if I look at someone like Better Bachelor, like, you know, he peaked out. Let's see here. I'm gonna take a look. Okay, so Better Bachelor, so his views peaked out in August of 2020 at almost 10 million views a month. Now he's down to like 3. Well, now this month it's been up back to 4.6, but still, like you know, the last few months it was like 2.5, 3. So is that his fault? But he's still monetized. So what happened? Why the views? What the subscriber counts have collapsed? He's only getting like 4,000 or 5,000 subscribers. He was getting like 20,000, 30,000 subscribers a month in the first 6 to 7 months.
Who are we talking about?
Better Bachelor.
Oh yeah. Well, they're definitely trying to throttle him. I think he's kind of come off of the milquetoast shit a little bit and going a little harder. So yeah, then they throttle him.
Look at even Better Bachelor. Like he exploded, got 7 million views. Then he got, you know, it was like 4, 5, 6 million. Now he's down to like this month it's like 2. The last month it was 2.3. You know, so it's like the subscriber counts are still decent, but even this month it's only 8,000 subscribers. That's the lowest it's been since, let's see, like May 2020. So look, if you build up a successful Manosphere channel, you've only got 6 months to maybe a year and a half before they throttle it down to hell again.
Yeah, they'll find you. That's for sure. I was just going to comment on my sub count. I've been stuck at like 24.5 or something like that, 24.3 for 2 months, 3 months. And then all of a sudden here in the last like 7-8 days, 200-300 subs just popped up. So I don't know.
Let me see. Let me take a look at yours.
You know, you're being goofed with. You're being fucked with. You know that. You know, my channel's got close to like 9 million fucking views. And the last channel had 40 million. So it's ridiculous, man. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, look, it's just that's why I'm just like, I don't want to bother. Like, I just keep it relatively milquetoast and keep the same channel going because I don't want to keep jumping from channel to channel. It's too much hassle.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, that's one of the reasons that I cut loose MGTOW TV. No disrespect to them. You know, I had a couple of thousand folks over there following me pretty decently, but it's just a couple of thousand. You know, and
look, it's another
fucking things. I can't do it.
No, like if you can easily mirror it. So like if you contact Amir, he'll basically you'll mirror it. So like your channel will just get mirrored automatically, so you don't have to do anything.
Yeah, I don't disengage, or excuse me, I don't engage with it very much at all. It just makes me feel a little odd to have people over there commenting and engaging with the material, and I'm not there. It's weird.
Are you on BitChute at all?
No, I dumped them because I gave them 3.5 years and nothing has improved over there.
Well, they finally fixed the comments section 2-3 days ago, and I can actually finally post stuff without actually getting like spammed by hundreds of like alt-right fake people, Nazi people, right? So it's like, what's going on here? Like, you know, and they finally fixed it. Like, look, like the whole BitChute thing is easy to fix. All you have to do is go and find advertisers and be like, I would contact Ray and I'd say, look, if you've got thousands of ad spaces, I'll make ads, like even the little short ads that I make them like 10 seconds long, put them in front of the videos and sell that ad space in front of the videos. Like all of a sudden there would be a flood of people coming in because it's monetized. It's not that hard to do. Like all the CBD oil people, they can't sell ads on YouTube. Just start getting them to sell ads on BitChute.
I went to my BitChute because this conversation to try to bring up a stat, and one of the first videos I posted, it's just a thumbnail of Yogi Oabs, and the title is "Naturopathic Beta Went MGTOW because he got chlamydia." I barely remember that beef.
That was a while ago, man.
It was like almost 2.5 years ago. But I posted a video on BitChute. I think there was some BuzzFeed black bitch who was like getting offended. Someone did a response video, so she copyright strike them all down.
Yeah.
And then I made a very brutal takedown of her, and I put it on BitChute. And it was on the trending page for a bit, and I had a whole lot of Sargon, egalitarian, anti-SJW, conservative people getting pussy hurt in my video. How dare you talk about women like that? You should focus on the arguments and stop making fun of her appearance.
She is the fucking argument. The goddamn Oompa Loompa running up on people talking about I'm a 10. Really, bitch.
Oh yeah, no. Let's talk about. Do you guys talk about the fashion simp yet?
Who?
Samuels? No.
Yeah, it's just like who? Kevin Samuels, the fashion simp.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah, always wearing the nice fancy suits.
Well, I mean, fancy for his wallet. Yeah, sure.
Well, I'm like, why are you wearing a suit? It's like it's so 20th century. Like, what are you doing?
It's part of the image. he needs to project as if he makes money.
Yeah, I don't know. Like it just projects to me that he's old fashioned, right? So maybe all the women are like, "Oh, he's conservative. Look how hot he is."
It goes with the message that he preaches about being old fashioned and being a conservative cuck, you know. And he brags about marrying 40 couples on this channel. I even found a wife. Blah blah blah. I don't know why anybody would take that shit
3
serious.
times.
Huh?
Didn't he get divorced 3 times?
Twice.
Twice. Boy.
Fucking 2-time loser talking about how to date and marry people.
Or like Jesse Lee Peters, who's basically attacking MGTOW, even though he's been a MGTOW his entire life.
Yeah, it's kind of fucking weird. It was really strange for me to see JLP do that, you know. But I guess he's pretty buried in the religious end of things, and he, in my opinion, he just can't see clearly.
And then, did you guys watch the video?
He's probably one of those weak Christians, which is most of them. Go on, Sandman.
Did you watch the video with what's his name? John Anthony Lifestyle. Like, I mean, I like his stuff when he's attacking Fresh and Fit. Like, he was the one that brought Fresh and Fit, you know, the grift to my attention. But when he went after MGTOW, it was the most like sad video I've ever seen in my entire life. Like, he had nothing. There was like no criticism. He was trying so hard, and he still couldn't come up with anything.
No, I've not seen that. I'll have to get that info from you, or maybe somebody can post it in the chat there. Yeah. Yeah, man.
What did he say? He's basically like, MGTOW is bad because you need women, and there are so many nice women out there. I've met them. I know. It's like, all right, whatever.
All right, but that doesn't mean that MGTOW is bad. Okay, you can have look. You can this for everybody out there listening that agrees with that argument. You can have the greatest bitch in the world. She can be amazing, fantastic, incredible. She can suck your fucking dick. You know, she can deliver children for you. She can also weaponize the existing laws to harm you. She can fuck you really, really bad. Really bad. And you have to be able to trust that won't happen. And you know, as soon as she ruins her body by pushing kids out, and they all feel that is the case. They feel that they ruin their body by pushing out kids for you. They will try to take you to court and take your motherfucking resources.
My pussy. Yep.
Well, now you hear what happened with Amber Heard. She had a kid, but she didn't actually push it out.
She opted for a C-section, right?
No, she had a surrogate.
Oh, well, I've known a couple of folks that do that. They use other people's bodies so that they can keep their
exactly
body.
Right.
Yeah.
So, like, I think that'll be a trend in the future where women will just pay other women to have labor for, you know.
For rich
yeah, I believe that they will.
That's for rich women.
But if you do it enough, then all of a sudden,
about 20,000.
Well, it depends on where
even the cheap states is 30. I mean, if you go abroad, it could be less.
Mexico's like 35,000.
Whoa, what the fuck? Really?
India used to be 12,000 about 5 to 10 years ago, but India banned it for like single men and all this kind of stuff. They were allowed. Yeah, you could have had a kid for 12 grand. Yeah,
I believe it. You know,
I guess I just go to India with my bong I'm married to, and the fact that she can't give birth, I need to find a surrogate. You know what I mean?
When would you like your baby delivered?
You've got a female bong, huh?
Yeah, all bongs are female. Hammerhand, you put your lips on it. Come on. It's just an object. You'll learn this once I abduct you and forcibly make you consume marijuana.
That's a little sus. I'm just saying.
What's sus about me abducting you and making you smoke some weed?
I'd like to see you try to abduct me, boy.
You would wake up and you're tied upside down in front of a giant lava pit, slowly getting lowered into it. And if you could smoke the blunt, I'll let you out. If not, it could be a Hammerhand, the crispy monk. That's
all right.
First, you got to find him. He's probably parked out in Ottawa right now, waving a flag. So,
Well, we'll be parked in the States if it makes its way here. But on the subject of alt tech, for both of you, you can take it as you see fit here. Sandman, you go ahead and start for it. What's your verdict on alt tech, man? Is it just not catching on, or are people just too lazy to leave what they know?
The problem is the lack of, okay, first of all, like if you want to use BitChute, the app has been banned off the app store, right? So MGTOW.tv, I think they went through the same thing. So you're not going to get the people on the phone to use it. And if 70-80% of people are on their phones watching our content and you can't use an app, how are you going to consume that content?
Right.
So that's instantly going to cripple it right there. So it's not so much that people don't want to use it; it's just that people can't. It's really, it makes it difficult. Like Odyssey is different. Like I don't know if Rumble has an app, but Odyssey has a app and it works. And I consume a lot of my content on there. Yeah. That works. And like a lot of content producers that were kicked off of YouTube are on there. They're getting 10, 20,000 views per video. Yeah. So it works. If you've been banned and your content is good, you're going to get the views. But for us, it's like, I don't think we can necessarily survive off of those platforms without YouTube. We have to use kind of YouTube as our like backbone. But I think you have to look at it like, okay, if you use BitChute, if I'm getting 3,000 to 4,000 views per video on BitChute, that's 100,000 views a month, right? So that's a substantial chunk of my views. So I'm definitely gonna promote and use that platform. MGTOW.tv, 300 views, 350 views a video, not very much. But then you add Odyssey, another 300, 350. So now you got 700 views. So it's not very much, but it adds up, right? So, you get, between that and BitChute, I'm getting like, let's say on average 4, maybe 4.5, maybe 5,000 views per day. So that's not bad. I mean, I wish there were other platforms where we could post stuff that we could actually get more views. So it would collectively come up to 10 or 15 or 20,000, and then we wouldn't need YouTube anymore.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with you on that. Timothy Sokol says, if the truckers go off like the Canadians, this government will fire shots, and they will be fired on.
Well, right now, what Sleepy Joe is doing is he's got Homeland Security working on figuring out ways to stop this. This is not going to stop. So they're starting, I think it's March the 4th or March the 5th. I don't know if they're going to be in Washington or they're starting their rally in California and then going from there. I don't know, but we're only like, 2 weeks away from this, 2.5 weeks away from the start of this. And it's not going to stop, because the thing is, even if Canada gets rid of its mandates, the truckers and people, like if they go into the States, they still have to be vaccinated. So, right. So it has to work both ways. So the people who organize this in Canada are teaching the people in the States who organize it all kinds of lessons, but also the Canadian government is teaching the US government. So this is going to be like ramped up to a whole other level. Both the government and the truckers in the United States are going to hone this and get it like running like a fine-tuned machine. So we're going to see stuff we did not expect in Canada. Like stuff we didn't see in Canada, we're going to see in the States for sure.
Not hoping for it, but this is why you don't give up your guns.
Well, okay, look at it this way. So Ottawa has got 1 million people. It's maybe a quarter the size, the downtown core of like, let's say a quarter, maybe like a tenth of the size of downtown Washington. Right. So you're still going to need like 10 times as many truckers in the States to seal up DC. And I think there'll be like 100, maybe 200,000 truckers. If they surround and park up DC and block traffic for like a month or two, what happens? Like, really, what happens? Are the like, what do you think? What happens at that point?
I think you've got an unstable influence sitting in the White House right now, and I think he would be just dumb enough to try to roll a tank in there and intimidate him.
Well, Justin Trudeau said he's not ruling out the army, right? He's not ruling it out. So, but they can't do that, because then they come out, then the jig is over. Then you're basically like China at that point. The French just rolled out their like militarized police the other day. Like, I don't know if you've been looking at the units they've been using in Paris.
Oh, but, yeah. I saw it.
Yeah. So the French
don't talking about French Quebecers.
Well, no, they're not going to do that. But look, Canada's armed forces only have about 50 to 60,000, 70,000 active troops. There's not enough troops to send to do anything. right? You can't police people on a massive scale. So they're using the cops, right? So, and the problem is right now there's a shortage of cops. The Ottawa police, they've been asking for more cops from other jurisdictions, but they don't have the cops to send them. So now, their cops have been out in the cold for 4 to 5, for like 2 weeks, and they need like time off, and they don't have it. So their cops are becoming demoralized, and they just want this to end too. But then
big time.
Yeah. Anyway, go ahead.
No, man. Chronic, you got anything to say on that? Where are you going to be when the truckers roll in?
In DC, I cheer for the collapse.
It's not going to happen.
Of this disgusting system. I mean, you can say that, but no one really knows what's going to happen, right?
Now, I'm going to tell you.
Look, have you been to
Go ahead.
Have you been to a country that's actually gone through economic collapse and turmoil before? Like, and like
economic or military collapse?
Well, I went to former Yugoslavia back in the 90s, and there was oil embargoes. There was, collapse of the currency.
Yeah, this isn't the same as the dominant global power collapsing, right? Like,
well, the Soviet Union collapsed, right?
Okay, but that wasn't the dominant global power.
It was a big part of
it. Was big.
Do you think they were dominant compared to the combined Western forces? I'd say no, because who won the Cold War? Who had the economic power? The situation I'm talking about is like the Roman Empire collapsing. You could be like, well, some Germanic tribes collapsed. The Huns collapsed. They tore each other apart. That's not the same as a giant empire collapsing.
The thing is,
I haven't been in that situation. I'm just saying I'm cheering it on.
Look, how can the United States collapse when a lot of the majority of their business is now overseas? So the American corporations have exported or importing all their profits from other countries. Like Walmart's in how many countries? How many countries is Starbucks in?
Yeah,
so all that money.
You see how that affects the United States by having their manufacturing apparatus in China. We're going through a second major chip shortage right now, and it's not because we don't have chips. It's because China's kicking us in the balls.
All the Starbucks that exist outside the United States are going to do jack shit if Starbucks in the United States get firebombed by political opponents. It's not an economic argument.
A lot of these companies already have their offices in places like Ireland. Look, it's all these American brands, right? So,
but it's not an economic thing. It's a violence and warfare kind of thing. If the American people, the populace, starts Minecrafting each other in gratuitous levels, business is going to stop.
That's a good one. I like that.
It just is. It wouldn't make economic sense. It never does.
No,
but it would still happen
because you'll get to a point where something will pop off, and hopefully that doesn't happen. But I just don't see
different sides of the fence on this.
No, you gotta let me finish now. I don't see how it's not going to happen. These people are not going to give up what they have attempted to steal from you, what they've attempted to take. The fucking jig is up across the board. There's no denying that the masses are awake. And they're awakening slowly, but they're awake. They're seeing this now. They're seeing it. So Lee B says in the comments before we go any further, there has been a huge mass gathering out in front of the Australian Parliament building in Canberra. I saw that. It's fucking enormous. Barely anything reported about it from the mainstream. It's because the mainstream is bought and paid for.
I would say it's not just an economic. Economics aren't just the only contributing factor to whether or not the shit goes down.
No, it's not.
Right?
Not by far.
The difference between now and 2008 in the U.S. is that in 2008, the right wing and the left wing didn't want to, pull each other's kidneys out in the street. They do now. So, there's a lot, especially with this whole MGTOW red pill kind of thing. There is a growing every year, the contingent of men that have absolutely nothing to live for, and I say live for, I mean sacrifice for this country for, increases exponentially. They have no families, they have no potential mates, they have no decent jobs, and they have no chance at owning any land, any house, nothing.
Well, look around here, right now in Canada, the average house where I'm in right now is about 1.4, $1.5 million. So how can the average person making $15, $20 minimum wage ever be able to afford an apartment, a cockroach apartment for like 700 grand? It's not going to happen.
You can't.
There's only one way for them to eventually own a piece of anything, and it's gratuitous Minecraft activities.
Right. To take it.
Yeah.
That's right. You know why that's happening, right? You guys have your ideas on why that's happening?
Well,
Because I know why it's
the
happening.
valuation of currencies, right? So like all these people are taking their valueless currencies or currencies that are losing value, and they're buying up all this property because they're trying to protect what money they still have. And that's pushing the prices up. Like housing around here has gone up like 40% in the last year and a half because of that.
Yeah, I agree that that's part of it. The other big component that no one talks about is we've already had just this year in 2 months, 300,000 people come across the border.
300,000.
300,000.
Where those are illegal. Look,
yes,
in Canada,
you got to house them.
Those are rookie numbers. Dude, those are rookie numbers. Canada brings in 400,000 to 500,000 people in every year, and we have 1/10 of the population.
I know, but you still have to house them. So where are the houses going?
They're not building enough here. So what's happening up here is
that's right.
Like, you know, there was a fire, I think, of like a month and a half ago, and they're like 3 children died. They were related, but they weren't siblings. It's like, what does that mean? That means that 3 or 4 families were living in the same house.
Yes. Yeah, agreed. But that was my point. My point is that it's not going to the citizens of the country, and the citizens of the country that can actually muster the money to buy one of these parcels, to buy a home, to put it on fucking on a checkout slip. They can't do it because those homes are being scoffed up by people like BlackRock.
Yeah.
And they're being given to house these future laborers and these people that are really going to wipe out the population that's here. They'll do it through breeding.
Look, they're not, because what happens is there's a demographics video that I watched just like about a week and a half ago. These 2 Canadian demographers, and they're on the left, which is just kind of even more hilarious. They basically said that when people immigrate into a Western country, they adopt the fertility rate of the country they go into. So the only way for the left to keep increasing the population, we're not going to get replaced through immigration. We're not going to get replaced through reproduction by bringing people in. The only way to replace people in the demographic that we're in is by bringing in people constantly from outside. But what's going to happen at some point is eventually you're going to have all these immigrants, and you're going to have many, many Western countries at the same time saying, come to our country. And then Canada will be like, no, come to our country. And then the Australians will come to our country. So the immigrants are going to be looking around like, which country shall we go to? Right? Like
immigrants are going to be like, I don't want to go to Canada. It's a shithole full of immigrants.
Exactly. So then they'll be like, well, let's go to Australia. Okay. And then and then it'll become bad, and no one will want to go to Australia anymore. And then they'll be like, well, where do we go next? Right. So eventually you get to the point where you're going to have too many illegal immigrants and not enough not enough illegal immigrants for all these countries to go around. And then you're going to start to see like population like collapse everywhere, because right now, since 1970, the United States, Canada, Australia, we are below replacement fertility in 1970.
Yes, I know.
And so this has been going on for like 50 years. So
can you imagine if they never opened up the gates for immigrants to flood in, so the corporations didn't keep on making money?
Well, look, it all comes down.
Hammerhand would own 3 different properties. We'd have a lake house, a mountain house, and a city house.
We just might.
Yeah. Look, it's all about nominal GDP, right? So they don't care about, like, how much money is each person making, and is each person getting ahead? No, they just care about is if we have as many people as possible. Every person needs a cell phone plan. Everyone needs a car. Everyone needs to heat their home or whatever they're living. So it increases profits for all these corporations, but on the average, for the average person, it destroys their quality of life. So that's where we're at right now.
Yeah, but it raises the quality of the importee.
How does it raise the quality of them?
Are you kidding me? They were living in a fucking trash can in a mud hut.
Yeah, but you import the third world. The first world doesn't stay the first world; it becomes the third world eventually. Look at LA.
I agree. I agree, right? 100%. But I'm saying that our standard of living is exponentially higher than most of the rest of the world.
Yeah, for sure. So look, people even in Eastern Europe are like, "Why would you want to leave Canada?" I'm like, because I can't afford a house, and People in Serbia are like, why would you come to Serbia? And I'm like, because houses are $50,000.
Because I can afford to live. Yeah.
Yeah, like I can buy what is it, 30 houses for the price of one house in Canada in Serbia. But the thing is, the country land is depopulating. There's Canadians that are moving over there and starting up their own Canadian villages.
I believe it. I believe it. Look, I keep up with that
damn
stuff.
maple trees.
I see it happening everywhere. Westerners are moving out of the West.
Yeah. So that is the one thing that can accelerate the collapse of the West. Because if you get enough Westerners moving to Eastern Europe or Japan or whatever, wherever, then all of a sudden, who's going to pay the taxes?
Well, who's going to send their sons to serve in the military and the police to protect the immigrants from each other? Oh, who's going to protect all the banker boys from all the violent anti-bankerism that they're importing into Western countries?
The bankers are moving to crypto. They're moving to other models. So
when I say banker, I'm talking about a specific rich, not a specific ethnicity, a specific combination of rich, ethnicity, and religion. Right? Who's going to protect the people that hate Native Europeans and European?
Yeah, like who's gonna make their cars for them? Who's gonna make their weapons for them? Who's gonna,
who's going to care when Alu Ak Muhammad blows up a synagogue in France? Nobody's going to care. Nobody cares right now.
Snack bar.
Look, I'm speaking to people. Like I've got clients who are of a certain certain schnauzle persuasion, let's say, and let's just say that they are telling me things like, anti-Semitism is on the rise, right? And I'm like, of course it is. Like, of course it is.
Anti-whiteism has been pushed by their friends in the media. So I don't
but it doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense because think of it this way: if all of a sudden you try to destroy the dominant demographic, that's your buffer zone between you and complete chaos and destruction of your peoples. Why would you do that? Like it's like suicide. Why would you do that? Like it doesn't make any sense.
Well, why wouldn't they do it? Think about it.
Some smart people in power think that a non-racial, completely diverse mutt community is the perfect answer to stop anti-Semitism. They think that whites.
It's not going to work. It's going to get worse, and it has been getting worse.
I'm not arguing against that. I'm just saying, turn on MSNBC. You're going to see a lot of non-white people pretending to be white, saying whites have privilege and need to leave.
But I'm trying to convince them. I talk to them and I say, look, the reason this is happening is because of these demographic issues. And they're like, no, you're wrong. And you can't get through to them. Like it's
even if you could convince the schnauzle types that you're friends with, those aren't the ones responsible for this wide push. It's like the top 2% of them.
Well, look, I agree. Look, the majority that I work with, they're like you and me. They have their own, they want to just live a decent life.
Yowzers in my face. I would take a latke, a potato Jewish pancake to the face 8 days out of the week. I would. Maybe I'll move to Israel and just say I'm Jewish. I don't know.
No, you don't want to move there, bro. No. That's bad.
Tel Aviv. I've partied in Tel Aviv before.
No,
I woke up with a bunch of cops like asking me where my hotel was. I was like, "This is nice." In the U.S., I just be thrown in the drunk tank.
They are something else over there, boy. They will really come after your ass. The females will. The females are very, very empowered.
Hammerhand, you ever get a nose job before?
Not until I get punched in the fucking face.
I'm just trolling. Sandman, what were you saying?
I can't remember. Well, get it back on my train of thought. Go ahead.
Innuendos.
It's all good. Okay. Well, while we're trying to figure that out, let me take a couple of comments out of the chat here real quick. Victor Von Frankenstein. Hope these messages find you gentlemen well. Sub is you'd like. Got to shill a bit. Oh, right on, man. We can do that. Cat Food Millionaire. I love that one. It's easier to manipulate smaller groups because the small groups are afraid of the other groups at the same time. Well, that has some stuff to do with it, but it's not everything, man. Fear is exploited. The idea of driving a wedge or creating a wedge issue where there was none, that's one of the biggest things that's going on right now. Most of this shit could be settled, but in my humble opinion, you'd have to kill every politician everywhere because they're the ones that keep it going.
You hear this, man? I'm trying to dance around like a cradle. I'm trying to dance around like a dreidel to avoid any kind of strikes, and the Hammerhand goes and says that. I'm just like,
yeah, look. Incitement of violence, not a good thing. So
No, it's not an
I was
incitement.
thinking about yes, it is. Like that's
No,
an
it's not.
incitement of violence.
I
Like,
did not tell anybody to go out there and
no,
jack
that's
motherfuckers up.
enough. That's enough, right? Like, so what I'm saying is, what I've been thinking about while we were talking about this is like, okay, we've got MGTOW.tv, we've got Odyssey. What I would be doing is I would get this stream going. You got 467 people in the chat right now.
Right.
What I would do is I would do like a clean discussion for half an hour on YouTube,
Yes.
and then take it into after hours session into onto Odyssey and MGTOW.tv.
That sounds like a good idea.
That's a very good idea, because then we can grow those alt tech platforms, because the only way we can get people over there is by saying, now we're going to talk about this, but we can't talk about it here. We got to go over there. And then even if we get like
Brittany Venti's deliciously bouncing tatas on MGTOW.
Okay,
Didn't she just get married?
I think she got engaged.
To who?
I don't know
who the fuck would
some
have it,
sucker
but
bitch.
It is what some sucker duck. You got it.
Look,
Go ahead
she
and
is,
finish up.
I gotta admit, she's pretty entertaining. Like, it's one of those things.
And she actually has some pretty reasonable fucking takes, but she comes across and she's like, bow down, hoes. You will do what I tell you because I am a woman. And that takes me out of it.
Yeah, it's just, look, I would tune into her channel and be like, what the fuck is this? Like, is it sarcasm? Is it like it's the truth in a?
Look, the only thing I care about on her channel is the lower third of the screen. I've never heard her say something that's new or thought engaging that I haven't heard from a man ever. Period.
So
the only thing that makes her unique is she got tatas. That's it.
And she has her twisted sense of humor, and that's pretty.
I mean, yeah, but like if I want to laugh, I'm not listening to Brittany Venti.
If I want to laugh, I'll just watch that woman who fell over after taking all those shots.
Fuck, man.
That was awesome. Like,
crackle pop goes the bitch's skull in front of the
that
shot.
was you talking about that comedian bitch?
Yeah, that was pretty.
Yeah.
I was like, I had to watch that like 5-10 times over. I was like,
girl says, "Oh," and then she's like, "Oh."
And the audience just bursts out in laughter. That's my favorite part, where you get all the people laughing. Like she's fractured her skull.
Yeah,
what?
Like, yeah, she's like seizing on the floor.
Yeah, well, you know what happens when you look. I'm not going to try to read too much into the religious point of it, but when you mock and denigrate God, and then 5 seconds later you're on your fucking back.
No, God has a great sense of humor, right?
Maybe you
comedic timing is perfect. Right? God's got perfect comedic timing.
All right, let me read a comment here real
stroke.
quick. Actually, I'm going to read a couple of them. Don, the sovereign citizen. What Hammerhand described is our constitutional duty. When the system gets corrupt, we have a duty to remove it. That is in our papers, in our Constitution. So, yeah, I'm not saying anything that's super, inflammatory. Not at all. Wireless Plum at Hammerhand. What are your thoughts on sperm donation? I say don't do it. Because in the last 3 years, it's gone from $25 a pop to $800 a pop. That should tell you all that you need to know.
Well, just if you have unvaccinated sperm, it'll be worth its weight in gold at some point.
I know at some point it will be, but don't do it, because sperm donors are not relieved of a responsibility when some bitch decides that they're going to sue them. They can find out who you are.
Do you have the same opinion no matter what the purpose for the sperm donation is?
Say again?
If the purpose of the sperm donation is different than the typical sperm donation, do you also say don't donate?
Well,
because
there's been
like an epidemic. There's been like an epidemic of pink eye in my local city, and so like sometimes when I'm back with an Uber and I see some bitches rubbing their eyes outside the club, I'll give them some juice to help them, get rid of the infection.
Yeah, I don't think I'd want to risk it, homie.
Do they have cold sores too?
I mean, after they get the juice, yeah.
There's a fucking beast, man. There's a beast. Oh, well, gentlemen, we're moving in on 1 hour and 35 minutes. I think maybe we can.
I'm good for another half hour if you guys.
And
are good.
You pretty much got 930 live viewers right now. You got 470 on my channel and like 470 on your channel. So
Well,
like,
But how many of them
Hello.
are overlapping though? No?
That's true. There's probably some overlap
I mean,
there.
you think who's watching both streams at the same time? I don't
So
know.
no matter who it is, hello.
Well, people
thank
have
you
maybe
for
they have
tuning
both
in.
screens open so they can watch the comments because the comments are different on each one, right?
But like,
yeah,
what would
that's
that
true.
be? Do you think like 10% of people?
Yeah, probably
Yeah,
not
maybe
very
like
much.
5,
Yeah.
10%.
So like,
Yeah.
at least you have 900 people watching Hammerhand.
Now we got to talk about woke Lord of the Rings. Oh,
Wait, Hammerhand.
man.
We
Oh.
was dwarves.
Oh.
We was dwarves.
Oh God, it's so bad. Have you guys seen?
I'm really excited. I'm really excited to see Gollum in a dress. That's what I'm waiting for.
Was dwarves.
I don't think you're going to see it because this is supposed to be thousands and thousands of years before the events of
Gender.
Jackson's.
Thousands of years before gender was invented.
Yeah, but it's going to be in there. So somebody was hitting me up a little bit earlier when I was setting this stream up, and I made a comment on my community tab about there's black elves now, and they're like, "What's wrong with black elves?" I said, they don't exist. That's what's wrong with white.
Look, if I want to look, I can look. I can.
Wait, what's wrong with white Black Panthers?
That's
Look,
what I'm
I don't
saying.
have a problem with black. Look, watch The Witcher. They've got black elves in that, but it's not woke. It's fine.
I would disagree.
No, I can't say that, man, because look, you can be cool with anything.
Yes.
J.R.R. Tolkien specifically laid this out. This is a European English mythology. There were no black elves. There were no black dwarves. You know, the race swap and the race hustle thing, the tokenization of any character to me is a pimp ass thing to do. I just don't like it. And I don't mean pimp as in a good thing.
I was talking to my best friend about this because he's a huge Lord of the Rings fan. And he's the son of Jamaican immigrants. You know what he told me? He said, fuck. They're going to put black people in the most trash Lord of the Rings shit in the world. That's going to
make them look bad. Yeah.
And make them look bad.
First of all, how do you compete with the original trilogy? You simply can't.
You don't.
And so you finally add black people to the lore, and it's written by a bunch of gender studies, Xanax popping, feminist whores taking zinc shots up the ass between writing sessions. It's going to be dog shit. It's going to be absolute dog shit.
Look, are you like I saw people tweeting about it, and I saw that like the only thing that kind of got my attention was that the nice armor they put that chick in. That was the only thing that was
Galadriel. She shouldn't be in any kind of armor.
But that was it. It's everything else that I saw. I was like, this is boring. Like I'm not even going to bother watching this. It looks like
it didn't look great, but the fact that you have unbearded dwarven women, you're not supposed to have that. You know, these guys they're not obeying the lore. And the people that carry these series forward through time are the diehards. You are going to lose the diehards.
You will look. I've been the biggest Star Trek fan since the 80s and 90s.
Oh God!
And
Don't tell me you support
I
this.
can't watch that. I can't watch Picard and
right.
I can't. I'm just like I watched the first season of.
Awful.
Yeah, it's I can't. I'm like I don't even look at it as Star Trek anymore. It's not
Star Trek. It's some bullshit that they churned out and they slapped a Star Trek and a Star Wars label on it.
Yeah, but
this reminds me of a quote from Tolkien. Evil can never create; it simply corrupts. Something like that, or destroys and corrupts.
Yeah, I agree. And
isn't
that's
that funny?
Popping up a lot.
SJW ideology can never create a good story. They have to take over some other shit and corrupt it.
Yeah, that's been popping up a lot. Into the chat real quick. Wireless Plum at Hammerhand. I was asking because I'm a child of a sperm donor and have never met my father. If you know that that's the deal and they know who it is, in my opinion, if you can get a good read on it, cool. If you're over 20 or 25 years old, I don't know that it would be the best thing in the world for you to do.
So your mother decided to not submit in her youth and deprive you of a father just so she can tell society she had a child. Your mom's a bitch.
I think it's fucking awful what people do with sperm donations, and they're like, we don't need no man. We don't need this element that is essential to life for boys and girls growing up. I don't need that because I was told so.
They don't need a man, but they want a man.
But they want a man, right? And I have to question both of those. Okay, you don't need a man, but you want a man. Then what? When you tell me that you want a man, but you don't need a man, one's just as bad as the other. We were made to complement one another, and somehow down the road, you got the idea that you're better than me.
compliment. Like we're meant to be their slaves? That's what we're meant to be. Come on.
I'm not meant to be their slave, and they're not meant to be mine. But there's
Look,
an order here.
This is the problem. Like, you know, we're asking ourselves, why are women getting into politics? Why are women trying to control men more and more? Because if we go our own way, they've got to up the ante because they can't live without having someone to control.
Where do you think that ends up? I mean, how do you think that shows itself in the bottom line to get men to engage or to pay for all of the shit that they vote themselves, the entitlements that they vote themselves? What's the end game?
We just stop producing, and then they slowly starve out, and then they start bringing in their titty totalitarianism. That's it.
Yeah, but I mean, you know, at some point in time, they will try to compel you through force.
Yeah, but it doesn't mean just because I'm making something for them doesn't mean I have to do a good job at it.
Oh, so sabotage.
Not even just like quality, low quality of stuff, right? So stuff breaks down, and make sure their quality of life is shit. And there are always going to be some state somewhere in the world that's going to produce better stuff, that's going to produce a better quality of life.
I don't have to give them that good nut. I just got to give them a nut, like a cashew.
It's just sort of like, oh, not
More like a, I walk into my son's room, and like a week after he's gone, and I pick up one of the crusty socks and throw it at the bitch. That's what they deserve.
That's pretty awful, man.
If that, yeah,
pretty awful.
Wait, Sam, have you? I think I've talked about this before. You heard the story that at the Uruguayan jail, where if a bitch gets pregnant, she gets let out of jail. So like dudes would beat off into socks and throw it over the fence.
Yeah, you told us that when you were talking to TFM.
We need to talk about that story. So I would pay to send Hammerhand down there on a Vice-esque documentary and just interview the dudes. Hammerhand's like interviewing some guy, he's like trying to beat it. Hammerhand's like, so what do you think about MGTOW? This guy's just like, huh?
I wonder if they can sue the father that will be. I mean, what the fuck is that?
How can they prove who it is, right? Like, if I come in a sock and hand it off to somebody else, like hot potato hot sock, right, and just throw it over the fence.
I just got like Hammerhand has like
depraved,
one of those touristy vests with a bunch of different lubricants on it. And
how the fuck do you get it in there? You feel like you turn the sock inside out and then you smash it up in your pussy. How do you get it in there?
What if like 10 guys all come in the same sock? How do you prove whose it is?
Hammerhand, have you ever eaten peanut butter with your fingers?
No.
Okay, 2 fingers.
No.
Look, we know what's happening. The guards are just banging the prisoners, right? That's what's happening.
Bitch, yeah. There's a lot of that stuff going on.
And they want it. They're like the guards are like, wow, free brothel. This is great.
I'm gonna have a live stream 5 years from now. It's gonna be Chronic impregnating every bitch in this prison live stream. It's just gonna be me in the woods with like an entire damn Walmart section of Hanes socks.
You're a heinous man. You know that, right? You're heinous.
Some zinc pills too, because I'm gonna get deficient real quick.
All right, gentlemen, talk amongst yourselves and bring up a nice topic or something. I'll be back in just a moment. Got to go drain the main vein.
Talk about a nice topic. What are we going to bring up?
So I guess I can't talk about beating off in socks and throwing it into a jail cell.
Well, you're not going to get banned for that or get a strike.
I know. Isn't that so funny? Like, TFM could talk about putting things in his booty hole. I could talk about beating off in socks, throwing it to bitches. But you say hold women accountable, rip goes your channel, right?
Well, I'm doing a topic, called "Take Women's Rights Away." We'll see how it happens with that. But...
everybody put F in the chat for Sandman's channel. Put F in the chat.
Nah, it's not gonna. Look. What's gonna happen is
take women's rights away, dude. That's what took TFM down. That is constant.
Well, he constantly saying that, yes, but like I'm just gonna say it once. And my first thing is like I don't want women to take. I don't want their rights taken away. But the problem is, if women have the rights, which I want to give them, their thing is they want to take my rights away. If I give them rights, they take my rights away. But I want them to have rights. So there's the paradox.
Yeah, I had a female debating me last night, and she was saying like, I don't see why you think you should take the freedom of speech away from communists. Shouldn't we treat everybody equally? I'm like, well, no. Communists have freedom of speech right now, and all they try to do is take away my freedom of speech. Why should we give people who want to take our rights away rights? They've proven they can't handle it. They've proven they want to take my rights away. It's like you shouldn't stab anybody. Well, if someone's stabbing you, are you allowed to stab them back? No, we should just have no one stab each other. We're beyond that, bitch. We're getting stabbed. We're going to fight back.
Look, I want women to have rights. I just don't want them to take mine. But the problem is when they need to take my freedom away because that's what they do. That's what they feel comfortable and confident in life if they have a man to be their slave.
Do you feel like egalitarianism, true egalitarianism, will ever be a thing?
I want it to be, but I don't see it becoming a thing because there's too many women that want to take men's rights away.
And that's an acknowledged part of it, and it's not like we don't see it. I mean, you can see that in every Congress, in every House, and every Parliament all over the West, openly advocating for taking the rights away from men.
Well, they're not openly advocated. They're just fucking around with the things that we enjoy. Let's just put it that way.
Sure, but when they submit bills like out in Australia not too long ago, submitting a bill, it got killed, but the fact that it was even drawn up was unbelievable to reduce a woman's work week to 28 to 32 hours and then hand the rest of that to men and make it law.
Well, did you see what happened in Switzerland?
Hammerhand,
Right. So women in Switzerland, women get to retire at the age of 64, and men get retired at the age of 65. And so what happened was there was a debate, and now some guy identified as a woman, and then he got early retirement.
Yes,
right.
That's what we should do. Like if gynocracy laws come to pass, I'm a woman.
Yeah, you were saying that on a couple of videos a little while ago. Talk about, hey man, if they're going to just do that to you, just switch your identity.
But guess what? Then the Swiss government said, "Oh, what we're going to do now is women's retirement age has been boosted to 65 as well."
So they just made it equal.
Yes, but it's still not equal because men in Switzerland live to the age of 81 and women live to the age of 85. So they're still getting 4 extra years of government money.
Yep. Yeah, we die sooner, man, because we gotta get away from it.
Because we want to, because of them.
Because it's easier.
Because we deal with women.
That's fantastic. Okay,
the more stress you have, the earlier you die.
Yeah,
it's damage to your heart. It's damage to your vasculature.
Yeah,
so you have a group of men and a group of women. Who gets more stress in marriage? Well, it's scientifically proven that men are unhappy if their wives are unhappy, but women are actually more happy when their husbands are unhappy.
Yeah.
So women are the sources of stresses in marriage because they keep on pushing a man. They push and push and push and push. So all it takes is a couple dudes per 100,000 to die 10 years earlier of a heart attack, and that explains those numbers.
Well, if you see what's actually going on in Russia, I don't know why men are living longer. Like the average age was like 58 or 59 when they died. So the Russian government was like, everyone gets a pension at 60. It's like, but we're all dead by 58 or 59. So what's happening?
Awful.
So now the Russian government's like, they're living longer. They're living until 65. We got to push the retirement age up. Like keep, 65, push the retirement. So they're pushing the retirement age above the life expectancy for men. But women's, it's hilarious. It's just like, what is going on?
It is what it is, man. We've bought ourselves a world of trouble with retirement and Social Security schemes. They're never going to pay off for the people that they were designed to pay off for. And they always hide this shit from you.
The only
what
reason
it's really about
is because women got the vote. That's it.
I agree. Repeal the 19th.
It's not going to happen.
Firm advocate. I know it's not going to happen, but I'm a firm advocate of that. And that's why I say it. All of this shit started, all of these troubles started for our countries and the West in general when they were empowered to vote. They didn't win the vote. They didn't fight for the vote. They didn't firebomb coffee houses for the vote. They were awarded the fucking vote.
That's the whole Socrates Plato thing I was talking about with democracy. Like it just eventually it turns to tyranny because we give people the right to vote who don't earn the responsibility to vote.
Yeah, agreed. And they're trying to do it with 16-year-olds in California now. No joke.
Hey, good. I want California to crash faster.
It'll go down fast as fuck if you put 16-year-olds in a position to vote.
We may not have the 19th repealed before this country ends. But that's okay. We're hustling better. We're hustling called Twitter trials. What's that? We get the entire Twitter server on a mobile device. You get a long line of all the people that want to come into the fortress. They go to the left. They go to the right. You type in a couple words on their Twitter bio or their history. If they've ever tweeted out anything about white privilege, they're a cattle feed.
Yeah. It's
Period.
going to be hard to prove, man.
They've exposed themselves.
It's going to be really hard to prove. Let's go to the comments for a second before we start to wrap this up. Jacob Mann says, at Hammerhand, they hoard themselves out for the vote. Yeah, I mean, I suppose that's true. They did. They hoard them out for the vote. PJ Lutta, God, why is it so damn difficult to understand? That's kind of what you were talking about as far as a net taxpayer and a net tax consumer to that Ukrainian broad you were talking to last night or night before.
Yep.
Yeah, she didn't understand it. I think she understood it. She was just playing dumb, about net tax consumers.
No, she probably didn't understand it.
I don't know, man.
All of her arguments were, but I know a single mother that makes a lot of money. But I know this person that does this. It's the same argument.
A single mother, not
Yeah.
many single mothers,
That's
or
what I'm
all
saying,
single
right?
mothers. Yeah,
It's the same kind of argument I have with these bread boy YouTubers, like all these weak, effeminate soy boy men with radiuses, the radius, your arm bone, that have the same strength of like a spiral notebook, right? They have bitch think. They can't think in terms of population. They can't think in terms of tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of people. They think, but Aunt Becky down the street is a single mother, and she's really nice to me. She gave me lemonade and cookies when Uncle Jojo put his Lolo in my no.
Yeah,
They're weak.
I know.
I had a final argument discussion with this bread tuber, and he was just like, I just think you're a bad person, Undead Chronic. I just don't think you care about people. And I was just like, I expect you to say that. I think you're a weak person. You are too weak to know what needs to be done. And anybody that's masculine, you see as a bad person. These people are weak. That don't bail out the boat. Sit in the corner and watch the pretty birds fly in the sky. You need to throw those people off the boat. They're useless. They're dead weight.
Yeah, I don't disagree with you at all. Gentlemen, we are approaching the 2-hour mark. I think we have time to
see. Most of the time, you could ignore those people, but the fact that there's so many of them now,
you can't ignore them now. There's millions and millions of them.
Yeah.
There's millions and millions of them. This is, like I said, these people and these organizations, these think tanks, they don't think in 10-year increments. They think in centuries-long increments.
Yeah, they're not going to make it. Like they're not thinking at all. They're just thinking like that this is going to work, but it's not going to work.
Have you ever seen something that started out as really, really good, decent, had potential, and you could kind of see it devolve and back itself into a corner and fail? That's what we're doing. That's what we're dealing with right now.
I've seen that. There was this thick bitch in leather I took.
I knew it was coming to some shit like that.
She started taking off her pants, and I was like, it was really well formed when it was in the pants, but she took them off, and I'm like, yo, I feel like I'm watching like how it's made of the preformed biscuit cans. This is kind of gross.
You just had to do it, didn't you? You just had to do it.
Hammerhand, do you expect anything different from
No, that's why you're on the panel, because I love the juxtaposition, my friends.
Yes.
So, Mr. Sandman, if you would like some parting remarks, we'll hear you.
I don't know. Like, what would you like me to talk about?
You can say anything, man.
Talk about the fattest bitch you ever smashed.
No, God, no. For the chat, for the kids, please don't.
No, I'm not going to bring that up.
You can send you.
Oh, that's like okay.
But I was sitting in a car with her, and all of a sudden she like.
It means he's at least the size of 2 bull elk. So that's all I need.
No, I did not go for that size, but the fattest one that I actually was sort of seeing back when I was like early 20s. It's like I'm sitting there in the car with her, and she just like brings her tits out, just like pops them up right over top. Like,
nice.
And my little Salmon there just looks over, sees some titties, is like,
it was broad daylight. We're in a parking lot, and she just like brings them out, and I'm thinking to myself, like, what are you doing? Like, are you insane, right? And she's like, "Do you like the rings?" And I'm like, "Yeah." Like,
she studying trees.
She thought I was rejecting her because I wasn't interested in like playing with them in the middle of the parking lot in the middle of broad daylight with people walking by. It's like, what do you think's going on here?
The fucking tits come out, and you hear Sandman here.
You see,
fucking
that's the thing.
crazy.
Sandman's just like, I'm not going to talk about that shit. And then Chronic convinced him to talk about it. So thank you, Sandman, for that wonderful story.
You bring the
Well,
worst
look,
out of people, you know that?
I've got a new strategy with these videos. So like I was like, I'm not going to post this on YouTube. Well, what I'll do is I'm going to probably post the first half hour, 45 minutes, and then if people want to watch the rest, they got to go to the other platform.
I'm
Agreed.
just going to clip the short out and be like, Sandman talks about the fattest titties he'd ever seen. And it's going to be like 10 seconds of you just talking about that.
Yeah,
Like,
that's 10,000 views for like
clickbait.
35 seconds, right?
Yeah, you get the visual of the parking lot and with, like whipping them out, there you go.
I'll do sound effects.
No, God, no. Don't do it. All right, gentlemen, 1 hour and 55 minutes, and I think we're going to go ahead and wrap it up and call it a day. I'll put some of those strategies to use, and I'll talk with the fellas over there at MGTOW TV and see if we can get it going again, but I just can't manage anything.
Like after hours, look, talk to AMR, the guy who runs it, and be like, look, just mirror my channel. And he'll just automatically go through your YouTube channel and automatically just mirror everything. Number one.
He's done that. He did that before.
Okay, so get him to do that, number one. Number two, do the after hours live stream stuff there. And then you can still make money. And if you've got an audience here, they'll most likely follow you in the middle of a live stream.
Shit,
like
it took them 3 years just to build up 2,000 folks out of 40,000 that I had.
Look,
So they just don't come over.
But look, that's still better almost than Odyssey. And Odyssey has a lot more traffic on it.
Yeah.
So
I know it does.
Look, BitChute has the most potential. It just needs advertising. And if we had like alt advertising, like if we had like, that little ads that I put in the front of, like if we had those in front of every single video, like that kind of stuff would be fantastic. Like imagine if you're like the red pill ring guy and you go to BitChute and be like, hey, can I put this on all of the MGTOW and men's channels combined? How much is it going to cost me? Right? Like, and BitChute would be like, oh, okay, here's our, ad rep and they'll take care of this for you.
I'd run ads for bitches OnlyFans. I wouldn't even care. I'd be like,
I've never seen
this
them,
bitch.
so I
Look at
don't
her
know.
bounce around. Do you want to see this bitch's titties naked? Consider donating to what's your link here, Hammerhand?
It's up there in the thing. It's paypal.me/Hammerhand TMM.
Consider donating to Cash App / cash symbol Hammerhand MM or Hammerhand PayPal at paypal.me/Hammerhand and TMM.
Hammerhand TMM. Yeah, the
And the MGTOW Monk.
It shouldn't say and.
It says Hammerhand. Oh, yeah, right. I'm just fucked up. Sorry about that. Hammerhand,
Nice.
the MGTOW Monk. Let me try that again. If you want to support these shows, consider donating to paypal.me/Hammerhand TMM. Hey, thanks for having me on, Hammer. I'll bounce out of here now.
I appreciate you, Chronic. You're wonderful. Thank you, Sandman. I
All right.
appreciate you both. You
Thanks
guys
again.
are wonderful, and we'll catch you on the next one, man.
Enjoy the rest of your day and cheers.
Peace out, brother. It's just you and me and you and you and you and you and all the rest of y'all. You crazy some of my bitches. 438 of y'all sitting in here. 444 pairs of eyeballs. My God. Thank you very much. I appreciate the hell of it. I'm going to jump up in the comments a little bit and see if we can pick a few comments and get some stuff going. MGTOW Cowboy, gentlemen, if I may shill my channel, please check out my content. If you want to post the link, Cowboy, just post it in the chat. And folks, check it out at your will. And if it's something that you like, you enjoy, you want to subscribe to it, be my guest. Be his guest, as a matter of fact. Trini MGTOW at Doc Holiday, Texas MGTOW. At this point, I'm not saying there isn't, but the time frame doesn't make sense, as in that would affect people years down the road, but we see effects in the now. For a lot, I think that you're talking about for the mRNA bullshit, the after effects. Yeah. Doc Holiday, Texas MGTOW. Fat ones die of heart failure before divorce. Winning. Now, if you're talking about the Charlie 19 deal, some very incredibly fit people are coming up with some serious heart problems, serious heart issues. And that's just not good, man. And that's one of the reasons that I never took it and won't take it, because I have common sense. I have brain cells to rub together, and I understand that it takes years of clinical trials to make this happen. Let's say that the papers were correct and they were plotting this and planning this shit from 2019. That still is not enough time for me. I would never do it. Never, ever, ever. Fuck all that. Taraba Spence, I boned a fat chick, but I did not fornicate her. Man, that's a magic trick. That's a magic trick. I don't know. Denudo Ball ZZ, that's Sandman's real voice. Yeah, Sandman's real voice. So is the other one. He just exaggerates it a little bit. Ghost Lachlan, Odyssey lags and buffers like crazy on live streams. I don't know because I've never run a live stream over there. And it's just fucking weird to try to figure out how to do it. You know, I suppose I go take me some tutorials and I can figure it out. And I'll get my shit mirrored over there from this channel to my largest channel over there. And that'll put me somewhere at around what, like 11 or 1200 videos there. Plus I've got the other 1,300 that are sitting on a hard drive. Maybe we could just make a weekend of it, get all of that stuff done, and put the entirety of Hammerhand on there to blast. Maybe we could do that. Cabalao, what's the other platform you're all going to? I'm not really going to anything. I dumped BitChute because fuck them, you know, because they've been having these problems with censors. They censor the fuck out of comments. They censor the fuck out of content, and it's annoying. It's annoying. You know, as an alt platform, I don't think you can pick and choose like that. And I gave them 3.5 years to get things figured out over there, and they still got a fucking funding drive going on. So no thanks. I'm not messing with that. Like I said, I've said many times, I jumped off of MGTOW TV because I just had too much shit on my plate. But if we're just going to mirror stuff, and I'll do the occasional live stream over there, you know, and kind of give y'all the little bait thing, you know, where I'll do 10 minutes or 20 minutes of it here, and then I'll go over there for the rest of it. I guess we can do that. See if we can drag a few of y'all over there. Then I got to rebuild my 2,500. I guess I had 2,500 subs over there. That's not so bad for that site, really. I probably shouldn't have deleted it. It's kind of an impulsive thing to do. Celibate Scorpion, Trini MGTOW. What I'm wondering is if it's transmissible like regular HIV via bodily fluids. I mean, who the fuck knows? Who knows? You think I'm willingly going to do something like that now? Who heard about the Moderna exec that just cashed out all of his fucking stocks, cashed out all of his money, closed his Twitter account? Oh, baby. Was it Moderna or was it Johnson & Johnson? It was one of them. It was one of them. Robert Rodriguez, OG Hammerhand. Well, thank you. I appreciate that. I'm like second, third wave OG. Yeah, I definitely wasn't in on the founding of this or the ground floor. Just kind of trying to push the message forward. And unfortunately, we've lost a few good ones along the way. But that's to be expected. All you do is you just do you, right? You do you and you keep on going. New Age traditionalism. Don't remove this, please. Need something for work later. I don't remove them. I don't remove my lives. If you come back to it and it's not here, that's a YouTube thing. I don't do that. Placebo effect. Good night, gents. Thank you, Hammerhand, for hosting this chat. I appreciate all of you. I really do. Thank you for coming. I appreciate you. 397 sets of eyeballs still on this demented old fuck, just rambling on about stuff that nobody really cares about. Celibate Scorpion, one more again, because of it is that means you would get HIV for, okay, kind of a continuation of the last comment. Mr. Hate Vicious, good night. Mr. Pliskin, call me Snake. Check out Pop Culture Rocks, Hammer's other channel. Yeah, check it out. Check it out. The subs are coming up. The American Open Wheel Racing channel is up. I created the one, and then when I got nuked a few months ago because that email was underneath the Hammerhand channel, it took away my access to the original American Open Wheel Racing channel. So I created another one, and I'm re-uploading all the shit. So if you're into open wheel racing history and lore, come on over. Give it a sub. Success Pool Endeavors, content creators, wrenches, please post your links. Thank you. Absolutely. Anybody that has a content channel to share, please post it. These folks get more out of this than you can possibly imagine. The 3 or 4 females that we have in this chat right now that are lurking, that are observing, some of them are making themselves known. They have the potential to learn. They may not like what you say. They may despise what you say, but they're going to get no truer opinion or fact from anybody outside of us, because we have abandoned the insanity of trying to appease people. I don't mind making another person happy. I don't. I never did. I still don't. But I won't do it because I'm compelled to do it. I do it because I want to. You see, I don't do it to hold on to pussy or keep access to a female. I do it because I want to. That's some things that females today need to hear. They need to understand that men aren't doing this anymore. The men that they say that they want, they're gone. The men that they're attracted to visually, they'll still smash them. They'll still fuck them. Almost everybody else won't. When they get tired of bumping around on this table of life like a fucking ping pong ball with a set of paddles, when they get tired of doing that, they might look inside themselves and say, you know, that fellow over there is not so bad. Got his head on his shoulders, got a job, he's got some morals and ethics and values and principles. He's got that. Oh, and that brings me to something too. There was I believe, a misunderstanding in my comment section tonight under one of my community posts. It was about watching the game, and somebody made a comment about morals and ethics and yada, yada. And I may have taken that the wrong way. Now, I posted an apology. If I was wrong, then I apologize about that. They got pretty bent at the fact that I called them on it. So if that was an error and they're listening, that was my fault. So let's just kind of call it done and dusted and get on down the road. And that's how you're supposed to do that, folks. If you make a mistake or you contribute to a misunderstanding, clear it up. Clear it up. Don't carry it into the future, not 1 second longer than need be. Because all it does is contribute to your denigration. It creates problems. It doesn't solve them. Timothy McGee, Hammerhand. I'm an old boy like you. Yeah, man. I'm getting there. I'm getting there. The day will come when all of you get the notice that this whole motherfucker has expired. And that's a good day. That's a happy day, because then you don't have to contend with the trials of life anymore. This is your ultimate trial here. Good mother, Hammer, do you think any of this can get better without stopping the feminist psychology field from taking over everything? Yes, well, do I think it can get better without heading off psychology as a whole? No. No, I don't. If you look into the reasoning, the gestation period, I should say, of psychology, why it exists, who created it as a modern medical philosophy, it does not bode well for the people that are being trained in psychology. I won't go into that now, but yeah, it's not a good thing. Let's just say it's not a good thing for people that consider themselves to be white or European descended. It's aimed directly at them from another source. The Small Hat Gang. I'm sure that you've heard of them. Denudo Ball, ZZ, did you see the Book of Boba Fett? Yes, and I wish I hadn't. I actually think I'm going to be done with reviewing Disney products. Now, don't hold me to it. I mean, I might. But what we saw with the Book of Boba Fett, with the 7 episodes of the Book of Boba Fett, it was not Star Wars. It was just some shit with Star Wars, with things that looked like Star Wars. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, I was not fond of that at all. The Pooch, the number one killer of humanity is heart attacks. It doesn't surprise me. I mean, your heart is going from the second that your life starts. The second that that heart is formed, it's working. So it puts in the fucking time. It puts in the mileage. That heart pays its dues. So when it's your time and you go, if it's from a heart attack, then it's your time. But it puts in the work. But back to the book of Boba Fett, I will be doing a series review on Pop Culture Rocks. So please tune in for that. I will, of course, alert you over here and let you know what's going on. Scott Farkas, are you going to post on Rumble or any other platform as a backup? I post on Odyssey as a backup. And I'll probably speak to the fellows over there at MGTOW TV and do things a little bit differently over there now. To be honest, I was just kind of getting tired of the DDoS attacks, the system outages, and then having to maintain it over there in addition to BitChute and Odyssey and Rumble. And just fuck that. Fuck that. I'm only one guy. There's only so much that I can do. So if people don't want to come over to those platforms and participate, I can't make them. I can't make them. So at some point in time, I have to decide what's worth my while. So we'll get back over there. We'll get it figured out and make sure that I can minimize the workload on myself. Alucard 1776, still unvaccinated and always will be. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. MGTOW Gear at Hammerhand. Viruses don't exist. Dr. Kaufman and Dr. Cowan proved it with evidence. Virus is a lie pushed by Big Pharma and the CDC to screw with us all. I'd like to see that evidence. I'm not suggesting that you're uninformed. I'd just like to see what you're reviewing with that conclusion. I've heard things like that before, but never done any real in-depth reading. I think that would be something to really study for the average folk out here. The unfortunate part is there's a select few people that are in charge, essentially, of the entire medical narrative of the human condition. So that leaves everybody else incredibly vulnerable to them. Because people just assume that they're going to do what's right and that they're going to tell you the truth. That doesn't happen a lot. And that's unfortunate. Unfortunate. Tat Crease, did I get that right? Stay away from needles, gents. Absolutely thumper. I nearly put her eye out. Oh, shit. Black Tiger, Hammerhand, justice for Johnny Depp. He has been winning lately. Look, I'm going to break some fucking hearts here. I could give a fuck about Johnny Depp. As far as I'm concerned, the thing that goes on with Amber Heard and Johnny Depp is two scumbags tearing each other apart. I have no loyalty to that motherfucker just because he's got a dick swinging. A few years ago, he suggested openly, when was the last time an actor killed the president? Fuck him. Fuck him. Maybe he was a good kid on 21 Jump Street, but something went wrong somewhere down the road. His win is not my win. Because if this shit wasn't happening to him, people that aren't centered exclusively, almost exclusively on male-dominated issues wouldn't know who he is. And he sure as fuck wouldn't know who you are. Fuck Johnny Depp. Quit spamming my chat. What the fuck is that all about? Crazy Canuck, do you think Trudeau's days as prime minister are numbered? Well, like Sandman was saying earlier, it could get worse if the motherfucker is ousted. But I don't see how it gets better if he stays. I don't see how it gets better if he stays. He's weak. He's complicit in the tyranny that's going on, the crushing of the country, the throttling of the economy. He has to go. He has to go. And fucking Ford, in my opinion, is not a better replacement. You need to get the fucking liberals out of there altogether. And then when you put the Republicans in, or the conservatives, whatever they call themselves, the equivalent of the Republican, you put them in and they sit on their thumbs for 2, 4, 6, 8 years. They do whatever they do to form their coalitions and their majority minorities, and they don't do shit either. Then maybe you can start to understand where people are coming from when they say fuck it all. Because that's where they're coming from. Things only marginally improve under Republicans or conservatives, right-leaning governments. These motherfuckers are birds of a feather, and they have proven themselves to be that. They have proven themselves to be that. MGTOW outlaw, no, egalitarianism will never happen. I know it won't. I know Sandman said he wanted to see it. But no, I don't think that it ever will happen. And I'll tell you why it will never happen. It can't happen. It can't. While the male of this species is gradually being reformed, remolded, reshaped, and turned into something else, and the women, conversely, are being turned into what men used to be, you still will not have egalitarianism. You will just have flipped the roles, and you will still have oppression. But Hammer, are you saying that women were oppressed? I'm saying that their very nature invited it. Were they abused? Were they destroyed? Were they killed, raped, kicked, beaten? Sure. So were we. By other men and other women, authority figures. That's what you never hear. And you won't hear it because it doesn't suit them. But we know better. We know better. Australian Aboriginal vegan. That's a shame about BitChute. I never knew you had issues with them. Yeah, I had issues with them from day one, but I hung on for three and a half years, and I just, fuck it, just can't mess with it no more. So I'm not going back to BitChute until I start to get some good reviews from people that I would trust. Placebo effect. I'm talking about years and years riding past funeral fields, holding bodies of my peers. If you don't educate yourselves, then how the fuck are you supposed to understand how you're going to get paid? Very good point. How do you understand it? Success Pool and Devils, Rumble does live streaming now. Yeah, but I don't want to commit myself to the way that their video platform is fucking weird. Like you've got these 3 boxes that you've got to check off. Like, is this yours? Is that content? Blah, blah, blah. Is this solely yours? Or are you going to sell it to Rumble? I thought, fuck all that. I'm not trying to do that. I ain't going over to Rumble. Crazy Canuck Hammer. What do you think about E-Man 67's advice telling men to grab a passport when it comes to finding a spouse? I think that you have the ability to find that spouse. Be aware that it is much more transactional. They are looking for you, and you are looking for them. Do they have things that they want to see? Yes, they don't want to see you if you're extremely overweight or extremely thin. Will they take you? Yes. Yes. Somebody will, that's for sure. And you're not going to have as hard a time there as you will here. You won't. Because it's very transactional, but there's still a big downside. You are a foreigner in their land. Shit goes sideways, they're going to end up with all of your shit. You might end up in prison or dead. But for the time that you have her, you will have that traditional type woman that you're thirsting for. You have to get it through your heads. They are not far off of the gynocentric edge that the United States, Canada, Australia, Britain has. All Western countries are loaded with it. It's not going anywhere. It has no choice but to get worse, much worse. And for those of you that have learned to control your biology, that don't have to give in when you get that certain special feeling down in your nether regions, you're going to be ahead of the game, way ahead. Now, if you feel like you got to go out there and get a passport, get your $2,000 airline ticket, invest all that time, money, learning a language to hop over the pond and grab you some Putin nanny, by all means, don't let me stop you. But when you come back empty-handed, if you come back, Don't say that I didn't try to warn you. The Gilded Age Phoenix. Bitch, Ute has a serious buffering problem. I know it does. It takes fucking forever to load videos over there. Never know when it will let me watch a video all the way through without buffering slowly. Yeah, I know. And it's really hard to load videos over there. It takes like fucking 20 minutes of video. So I just said, fuck it. Whatever. Lion Man, do not fuck a vaxxer bitch. No. That would be my advice. That'd be my advice. If you're still determined to date, and dating is just a euphemism for finding pussy now. Let's be honest. Okay, you might think you're dating. She's looking for dick. That's it. And she's looking to evaluate you and see if she wants to keep giving you that pussy so that you'll provide for her. That's it. Very transactional, very cutthroat. But if you're getting into somebody that's all about these masks and vaccinations, keep in mind that they don't have a mind of their own, that they don't think for themselves. The collective thinks for them. State news and media gives them their opinion. And it will also tell them what to think about you. Polska Bob, what the fuck? I'm having issues with the chat feed. Oh, man. I'm sorry, bro. Fresh memes. Hey, Hammerhand, what would you say are the foundational beliefs of a MGTOW man? You can consult the MGTOW philosophy. That's not hard to find. Go and consult the MGTOW philosophy. Aside from that, understanding what morals, ethics, values, and principles are. Learn how to distinguish between them, practice them, develop them if you don't have them, and control your biology. And there's no force on earth that can move you off of your game. No set of nice titties, not somebody blowing in your ear, not a hard dick. Nothing can move you off of your foundation. And that's because you made the choice to take care of you. So everything around you, I hate to say it this way, is essentially a threat to the dynasty that you will build for your life. It could be a small dynasty. It can be a large one. But you sure as fuck don't want to hand it to somebody because they had a change of heart, do you? I don't. Mr. Pliskin, seen good numbers with Pop's channel on Rumble. Super slick. I hope that it's good for them. I don't have any intention of going to Rumble. Schlitz Malt Liquor. Moderna, he is ahead of the curve. Something is about to drop. If those fuckers are dropping their stock and shutting their Twitters down, they already know what's coming. It's not hard to read into it. The fact that Boris Johnson just dropped all of the mandates in Britain, in England, yeah. The writing's on the wall, folks. The writing's on the wall. The rest of them will follow in suit. They'll probably be a little more surreptitious than this motherfucker. He was pretty blatant about it. Jacob Mann, Taco Bell gives you the shits. Yes, it does. But every once in a while, you have to go punish yourself. It's like, oh, man, I want me a salad bowl. Oh, let me get a pizza. Oh. Australian Aboriginal Vegan at Hammerhand. Did you hear the new Secretary of Fuel and Waste is a non-binary drag queen, a tranny, who looks like Matt Damon? Keep them away from your kids. When you are appointing these super freaks to these high positions of power, very, very powerful positions, and these wackadoos are giving you their opinions, and their opinions become law, or they become procedure, or they're put in a handbook, it always comes with a sexual and racial tint, an ideological charge. And they always ruin everything they touch, because it's pretty clear that if you got a swang, if you got a twig and berries and you're dressing up like a girl, that something is not fucking right with you. Something is not right. You have bought into something and you can't get out of it. And I don't trust you. And I won't ever trust you. But isn't that great? The government trusts you. You got to check all them boxes. It's amazing. SARS Jane, yo, Hammer, silly question, but do you like Indian food? The little bit of Indian food that I have been exposed to was pretty tasty. Yeah. I would say yes. I probably would have a fun time at an Indian street market, eating actual Indian food, not like the Americanized Indian food. And I have no issues with the Americanized Indian food. What I'm saying is that if I'm going to try another culture's food, if I'm going to take on their appetite, I want to eat it the way that they eat it to see if I would actually really like it. Brandon Trueblood. As a pure blood monk, I don't have to worry about the HIV jab. I don't either, sir. I don't either. Unwanted contriver, 400 sets of eyeballs watching right now. Well, 393, but who's counting? But thank you for the good call out. Thank you. Thumper, good night then. Sorry I missed it. Well, you didn't miss it all. We're still here. Still here. Let me get down to the bottom, and I will read off a few more, and I think that we'll wrap this up at 2 hours and 30 minutes. Before I get into the comments again, I would like to say thank you. Thank you to everyone in the chat. Thank you to my wrenches. You're amazing, as you always are. You always take care of business in that chat. People think that it's easy to have a band hammer and just run around in a chat. That's not how it works. These wrenches are awesome, and I really do appreciate them. Big thanks to Sandman for coming on to this broadcast tonight. Big thanks to Undead Chronic for showing up as well. The fucking man, the war band commander, the leader, and Sandman, pretty much the gateway drug to all things MGTOW. It was my pleasure. Chris Vanaken at Hammerhand, my friend and I are in Portland, Oregon, and seriously considering moving. We are considering the Pensacola area in Florida. Thoughts? Pensacola, anywhere in the Panhandle, is going to be kind of barren, small towny. It depends on what your lifestyle, what you expect from your lifestyle when you get there. If you want things within 5 minutes of you, within 5, 6, 7 miles, I wouldn't move to the Panhandle. If you're moving to Pensacola proper, okay. I think you'll be okay there. But yeah, don't make the mistake of thinking that because Florida's almost entirely waterlocked that it's a tropical paradise. A lot of those areas in Florida, middle Florida, the midsection, and southern Florida, all the way down to the Keys, had to be shaped that way. It had to be made that way. And there sure as hell is a lot to look at. Every time I cross that Florida-Georgia border and I see my first palm tree, I always get a great vibration. I spent a lot of my life there, and I loved it. It was just too expensive. That's another thing. Land values in Florida right now are going ape shit. So you're really going to have your T's crossed and your I's dotted. You're going to have your finances in line, because you ain't going to find a shack for $300,000, $400,000. And I'm not kidding. A couple of weeks ago, I was on every realtor site listing property, $350,000, $400,000 for a shack. So unless you're going to live with somebody and get a good head start, you might want to consider another region of the country. Just saying. But do your own research. Don't take my word for it. Do your own research. But that's just my opinion. Troy the man, I never got the virus. Unwanted contriver, butter chicken. I don't know what that's about, but I agree. Scott Farkas, just like hearing my name said by the man. Oh, stop all of that shit. I appreciate you too, Scott. Thank you. M. Perlotti at JV, interesting and terrible. I don't know if you're right about the numbers, but what a wake-up statement. Yeah, I don't know. Crazy Canuck, Indian food is good. We got a nice little Indian restaurant and a Thai restaurant not too far from here. And I think I might just go have me some Thai food or some Indian food. Because damn, Psychosoap 2, things that make you go damn is on. What's up, Soap? So Psychosoap 2, so did your channel get blasted? Did you lose your channel, man? And if so, What did a mild-mannered meditator like you do to get your channel fucking terminated? But then again, you don't have to do nothing. We know whose YouTube it is. MGTOW Monger. Oh, man. Oh, man. In the house. Pass on my best to Zeitgeist Eater. I got sick with a bad cold recently, got over it after a few days, kept partying in Puerto Vallarta with the Australians. That sounds like a hell of a good time. Ralph Sodders, she's strong and independent. Enjoy all that work I used to do for you no more. Abso-fucking-lutely, 100%. Sodanor, thank you, Hammer. You're welcome. You're welcome, Sodanor. I appreciate you, man. Mr. Pliskin, no reservations with the hammer. No. MGTOW Monger, ivermectin is readily available in Mexico, and you can get antibiotics easy, too. You can get the ivermectin here. You can get it here. Don't listen to your CNN video audio overlords because they lie right to your fucking face, and most of the big wigs are going down in sex scandals and corruption scandals. How funny is that? They kept the guy that was jerking his dick off, though, on a Zoom meeting, Jeffrey Toobin. They kept him. Psychosoap at Hammerhand, they done took my channel and wrench. Uh-oh. I'll tell you what. As soon as this stream is over, it's the only way that I can do it. I'll go back through this when it posts, and I'll wrench you up, homie. I promise you that. I'll wrench you up. I'll put that motherfucker back on there for you. Fuck all that shit. Shredneck at Thumper the Sweaty Fat Guy doing wastewater treatment, so they always need us in the country. Second plan was Idaho. Troy the man, fuck CNN. That's right, fuck CNN. Fuck them all. Fuck Fox. Fuck OAN. Fuck them all. They are all dis and misinformation services. And you can see how they play the game out there, and you're the pawn. You may agree with one or the other, but if your eyeballs are open and you're not blinded ideologically, you're not spouting dogma every single day, you will see that they use you. They use you big time. Excuse me. Celibate Scorpion. I love Indian, but Thai is even better. I'll have to take your word for it. I think I'm gonna go try them both. MGTOW Monger, yeah, you can get the paste in the United States. The pills are tougher to get a hold of. So you're saying that they got the pills down there? Is that what you're saying? Easy Border Run gets you plenty of ivermectin in pill form, 6 milligram pills. Cool. Ryoku Hakabi. Thanks, Hammerhand, for always speaking the truth in your opinion. The MGTOW need another Terrence Pop collaboration, saving men's lives. I have put in the request. I don't harass people. You know what I'm saying? I'll ask once or twice, and then if that's not heated, I don't fuck with it again. Some folks get busy, and they can't go and check their shit, and it's all good. It's all good. And that's not to say anything one way or the other. I just don't make a habit of pushing on people. I'll ask once, maybe twice. If that doesn't happen, then I don't ask again. I'm not in the habit of trying to push myself or other shit on people. I just do what I do, and if there's no way for us to get together for another one, then there just isn't. And it's all good because I enjoyed the hell out of the two that I did. Pop and Blake are awesome. I enjoyed my time there. It was great. Polska Bob, we got you. Soap. You guys get over there and get Soap back up there, man. They went and took all of his shit away for no good reason at all. Not that they need one. And Soap is a longtime friend, man. Longtime friend of the channel, longtime friend of MGTOW and men everywhere. So run over there to his channel. If you want to post it in the chat again, brother, be that man. Go ahead and do it. And let's get this man some subs. Let's get him a few hundred if we can. Scott Farkas, Fox are the cuck-servatives. I don't even think that they're that, Scott. I don't think that they're that. I think they're on one side because the other side is filled up with wackos. So then the other wackos kind of float over to the other fucking side, and they just play massive populations of people against one another. You don't even know who the fuck is fighting for freedom, for goodness, for righteousness. You don't even know who your friends are anymore. Everything's so fucked up. That's why I don't pester myself with any of the mainstream bullshit. Like I said earlier tonight, watching the Super Bowl, I had the channel on mute for most of the night. But watching the Super Bowl and seeing them idiotic fucking commercials come on, it's too much to take. I don't have the tolerance for that shit. That fuckery right there, that's some mind-numbing stuff. That's why I haven't watched regular television in about 15 fucking years. If I want to watch a series or something from days gone by, I just pick it up on DVD. That's it. I'll watch it a couple of times and then send it on its way. It just is what it is. Gundam Bacon 40. Yep. Fuck politicians. Absolutely. Dennis's art studio, or am I thinking of CNN? You're thinking of them both. They're both fucking jacked up. Ralph Sauter's Thai food is good, fed to you by a good-looking Thai girl. I don't know. Maybe it's a thing. I don't know. Cubing Speed. I think I have about 5 subscribers, but I have no content. Don't know how to feel about that, to be honest. Well, I mean, it's your charming personality that attracts them. So you got 5 people that love your empty channel. Put some stuff up. You ain't got to go crazy. You can hide your voice. You ain't got to show your face. Russell Bodie. Terrence Popp did a great job covering male deletion. He always does, man. That's his wheelhouse. Popp and Blake are a great team. They're a great team. And I'm going to tell you something. Blake gets shit from time to time, but Blake is a big part of that operation. And people should start giving him his due. You know, give the man credit. He produces those episodes from start to finish, and that's not an easy thing to do. So, yeah, big ups. Big ups. Excuse me. Samuel Church, Hammer, how about a Title 4D tutorial? I can't do it tonight, obviously. And I am not in as good a position as the Title 4D destroyer, Amin Osiris. If you want real 4D tutorials, that is going to be the guy. That's going to be the guy. The 4D destroyer, Amin Osiris. Look him up. You won't be disappointed. Troy Evans, Hammer, will you do a deep dive on your G.I. Joe collection? Yes, I will, but I'll put it on the Pop Culture Rocks channel. I've been contemplating that. I don't know how I would go about doing that. I don't know if I want to just line them up and say, yeah, this is X, Y, and Z, or if I want to do them by years. I'll probably break it down into years and then profile the characters year to year, you know, and maybe a character history, something like that. But yeah, there's a lot of good things in the work for PCR, man. It's just you have to make the content, and making the content for this channel, making the content for that channel, for American Open Wheel Racing, doing the photography, doing my film developing, and working and taking care of my son. It's a full plate. You know what I'm saying? It's a full plate. So thanks for sticking in there with me and being patient. MGTOW Monger, a good talk for you to have with Terrence Popp is a good sober talk on men's suicide. Yeah, I think we could sit down and talk for hours about that. I really do. We're going to be seeing a lot of bad shit coming. Many of us will be losing loved ones who took the jab. I don't disagree with you. And for the people that are close to me that did take it, I just have good thoughts for them. I hope that they made a decision that's not going to cut their life short. But I don't have much hope for that, to be honest. I don't know. I want to believe that if they weren't affected, you know, in the last couple of months, that they're one of the lucky ones. But you never know. There's a whole bunch of people out there that thought that and their relatives are dead. So, yeah, it is what it is. Successful endeavors. Fox is just another big media outlet. I want to say that again. Fox is just another big tech media outlet. That's exactly correct. It's exactly correct. These people by themselves are not the arbiter of truth and news. They are not. They may have connections. They may have cameras in different places all over the world, but now you have that in the palm of your hand. You have a mobile television studio in the palm of your hand. These people do not get to determine your reality. Don't let them. Don't let them. We've lived with that bullshit for far too long. They've taken way too much and not given nearly enough. Troy the Man, I resubbed Soap. Oh, they're already coming over there. Super, super cool. Onibak Ugu at Cubing Speed. Some of those subscribers are spies for Susan. You never know. They don't need spies, man. They've got fucking 10,000, 15,000 sensors, and they know what they're doing. They know that they're helping to squash expression, free speech. They know that. And they still signed up for it. So that shows you what you are up against with these people. Gents, I'm going to drop to the bottom, read a couple of more, and then I think that we're going to be out for the night. I think we're going to be out. I think we've got a good one here, though. This has been a pretty good stream. I enjoyed having you all here. 375 sets of eyeballs still watching. Goodness gracious. Psychosoap 2 says, thank you, brothers. As soon as I get over there, Soap, I'll look you up. I think I already subbed the channel, though. I think I already did sub the channel. So, Mick Parkinson, population control, war on Western history, the great erasure to facilitate a more pliable race to be the elite's gophers. Yes. How else do you explain this shit? How else do you explain losing 30, 35, 40% of testosterone in men over 50 years? It's unheard of. How do you explain the unmitigated push to push everybody up above Europeans, white people, and push them down below everybody? How else do you explain it? This isn't a race thing. It's not. It may be in the eyes and ears of some people. It's just outright, flat out fucking manipulation, social and genetic engineering. They say that they don't do it. You have but to open your eyes, look around. You know that they do. I know that they do. Troy the Man, I reported on a story from Fox News. I don't watch Fox News often, but this was a big story, a big deal. Sweet, sweet, and sweeter. The Good Mother. Mass psychosis caused by feminists. They are an enormous, enormous part of it. They're also the, what do they call them? The useful idiots. It doesn't take much to convince anybody that somebody is working against them, taking advantage of them. You don't have to meet them. You could have never seen them before. Like, see that guy? See that guy over there? That guy is part of the problem. I just wanted you to know that, sister. If it weren't for that guy and the millions like that guy, you'd probably be rich. You'd probably have your own home, kids, a loving, adoring lapdog of a husband. That guy over there took it from you. And those useful idiots blew into life feminism. 14 million bitches volunteered to get taxed. Amazing shit. Amazing shit. Success Pool Endeavors. Give a sub to the only black man in South Dakota. There you go. Polska Bob, hey, we have French on our side. Yeah, maybe. Solitaire. Hammer, I caught the stream. I am glad that you did, Solitaire. Good to see you in here, man. Oh, good to see you in here. Good Mother switched the term guy with girl, and that's the truth. Mountain Monk, Yuri Bezmenov, explained this. Yes, he did. Yes, he did. And sometimes it's difficult to accept that it was all laid out for you, and all you had to do was make the choice. It's amazing what people will choose against. Just apply a little bit of pressure, and you'll find out. I hope you're all having a wonderful day. I hope that you had a wonderful stream. I hope that your life is good. I do. I mean that. Remember that every day above dirt is a good day. You might have a bad choice, the choice between a shit sandwich and a soggy shit sandwich, but at least you've got the choice. Wake up and dispense with the day. See what the next one holds. Don't cheat yourself out of anything. Love, peace, and hair grease, and I'll catch you on the next one.